Thank you. Thank you. Very nice. I think many people said when we keep a get together on Saturday. Many of the companies don't work on Saturday because insurance companies don't work on Saturday. So many of the brokers don't work also on Saturday. And clients also don't work on Saturday. At least in Mumbai, I think Mumbai is becoming a Saturday holiday. So good to see at least a good level of interest. It's been organized at a very short notice. I'm consciously delaying it for a few more minutes because I can still see the program. Usually a lot of people walk in when the program is about to start. So after the start time, the next 10-15 minutes is the maximum number of people walk in. So just trying to get as many people in while we take time to say hello and introduce ourselves and make sure that and we all learn from each other. I think rather than waiting for everybody to come in, shall we take this opportunity? It would not take more than 5 or 10 minutes, but a quick hello from everybody the way they quickly did so that at least we know who all are here in the room. And it will also give us a time to get others while we wait. So that's the most productive use of time. So may I start with and then we'll do the introduction of the board of directors of IBI at the end so that even the latecomers will get to hear about the introduction. So may I start with the people over here? Yes. Acha, Mr. Jangla would like to make an announcement that for the people who are watching us.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, friends, hello. If you are live, right? So you are all the friends who are watching us today from outside Mumbai. Warm welcome and good morning from. So again, I'm repeating. Obviously, you all know already. We have sent your email also and also on WhatsApp. You can send us your suggestion or question by tweet. Twitter handle is India IBI, or you can send the SMS to us on number 8169175933, or you can also join us by Skype video live on real-time basis. On the ID is Hemang74. These are the 3 ways you can connect to us. Thank you. And we are about to start in 5 minutes. Stay connected. And whenever just you push that live, I think everybody has a link. If they don't have link, I again read out http://live.abstream.tv/IBAI 2017. I think everybody has that link. So we are about to start in 5 minutes. So in also. Message on the group that connectivity is very poor. It's working, yeah. Working. Yeah.
The connectivity will be a problem at their end.
Their end.
They don't have the correct bandwidth there.
There. So we are live.
And people in the room also, if they want to enjoy the pleasure of sending the question from this room also, you can send it. We can have some fun while we have a discussion.
Live, you can see. No problem. We are live from here. Sorry? Thank you. In between also, I will take minutes.
Some of the people may like to dial in already. They may not have this time. Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Jangla, we are also opening the dial-in line because some of them do not have the internet connectivity across India as well. And we have given the dial-in number. So that dial-in number will also be open right now because some of them are calling up that the dial-in is not on. So we'll just set up the dial-in right now while the introductions are on. So Ashish, you may help with the dial-in.
That also will announce the number.
But because the dial-in time is there.
Yeah.
So sorry for the introduction. Yes, ma'am. You were introducing.
This is Soundarya, Anand Insurance Brokers, Mumbai.
I'm Saurabh from Mahindra Insurance Brokers, Mumbai.
I'm Dev Singh from Tower Insurance and Reinsurance Brokers.
Hi, good morning. I'm Sumit Bora from India Nivesh Insurance Brokers.
Principal Officer, RFL Insurance Broking.
Friends, try and not take the first seat. We'll try and move in so that some of the people who join in late. Yes. Yes, continue.
Devidas, Principal Officer, RFL Insurance Broking. Shyam Sundar Agarwal, CMD, RD Insurance Broker, Private Limited.
Yes, sir. सर आप आगे आ जाइए खाली है जगह. Please, please, आइए. You ask the tough questions on the insurance seminars.
नीरज आजा यार आजा ओ केवल भाई नहीं आएंगे आ भी जा
You want? Sorry for the interruption. Yes.
Jayanti from Marsh India. Shruti from Ankita from Marsh India.
Friends, we have our board of directors also over here. You know all of them, but still, Arunachalam sir. Sanjay Kedia.
SK Jain from Chandigarh.
Girish Malik from Expeditus.
Welcome to Reservationless Plus conferencing. Enter your... Thank you. If you are the leader, press star now. You will now be placed into conference. To mute your line,
Nitin bhai, please.
star 6. To unmute, press #6.
You can come this side, Nitin bhai. Mr. Nitin Dosa is the IBA director, as most of you know. Nitin bhai, is it comfortable there? You can come, Nitin bhai. Come inside. So friends, I think we have a good attendance on a Saturday morning at Mumbai. Mr. Vijay Rampal's wife is in hospital, but again I must acknowledge that his commitment to the IBA work is second to none. He's still come over all the way. I would still request him that he should, if he needs to, he should go in early. But he said this is an important moment, so that he should certainly be there. There are directors who have traveled across other cities to come over, and I can share with you that in a short period of time, the broker regulation draft which has been put up with 31st March, which makes our community the busiest time of the year, putting together all the comments. Many of you have reached out on phone, have reached out on emails, and have shared the comment. But I would say a lot more could have given the comments this time. I think the response has not been as high till date, but I'll still encourage people to share their comments. Mr. Jainji has such a strong technical background understanding the regulatory aspects, so he has been contributing a lot. We have a new director at the board, Kapil from Secure Now. He also did a phenomenal amount of work in putting together many of the documents which you will see. And before we start, we want to acknowledge the work done by Amrit Mangaldas from the Delhi, the Shardul office, where Shalja, the lawyer concerned who knows the insurance extremely well, has worked on this entire assignment. and there's a lot of quality work which has been produced. So with this, what we could do is today, if everybody agrees, how can we make the best use of this time with a singular goal of having a better understanding and then a better dialogue amongst us to agree what are the key points which we should discuss with the IRDA in terms of our joint representation on the issues of the broker regulation. So to carry on this exercise, if everybody agrees, the suggestion is what we could do is we could go through very quickly, so that I know many of you have read this exposure draft, and I know some of you would have gone through very quickly because we have other jobs to do. So maybe we could, Shri S.V. Thakkar, another board member of ours representing Allianz Broker. So maybe we could go through quickly what are the changes which are being proposed in the exposure draft. So first we understand, without getting into the comment whether it is a great idea or a bad idea or a terrible idea, we just look at as is what is the exposure draft recommendation. Okay? I will urge the colleagues to hold on to their comments till we complete what is being proposed. Okay? So that will be the first part of our meeting. We just go through as is proposed by IRDA. Second is, we have an open dialogue, and within the open dialogue we will have two rounds of open dialogue, two approaches to the open dialogue. One is, we want to hear the voice of as many brokers as possible rather than only one or two brokers, and obviously then we'll get into very detailed dialogue also. So initially maybe we could go through each one of the brokers and ask each one of you, as you look at this, keep in your mind as to what are the couple of things, maybe 1, 2 or 3 maximum, which comes to your mind as the most important thing you would like to raise. Okay? We will quickly move through one to all the brokers and just get a sense. So everybody in the room will have a sense that what is the house believes. Okay? Then we will go through what is the preparation which has already been done by the IBI on the representation which we are planning to make. Then you will see whether most of them are already there into this or not. And then again we will open up the dialogue for a very open dialogue where we can get down to as lengthy dialogues as required. So then what happens is, we should be able to achieve a very structured dialogue, at the same time get into the depth and also understand what is being proposed and what we are planning to propose, and hear the sense of the house so that we get a collective view. If there is any suggestion on how we can improve this time, because we have 2.5 hours and we want to achieve maximum out of it, any suggestions on the structure of the 2.5 hours, we want to do things in a different way. So people believe that we can try attempt this, and at any point of time we believe that we need to spend more time in a particular area, we will do that, because this is your meeting. The whole approach is to get the collective wisdom and a collective approach. So Jainji, with this I start. I will be taking a lot of help from Jainji and if Kapil was around, because they have been involved heavily in looking at this entire presentation, and others can also chip in. So maybe we could start with looking at what is being proposed. We'll try and manage the lights, and I hope people who are on the webcast are able to see the screen. So I'm told that people are being able to see what is being put up on the screen. So Shri Kadel ji, our IBI director from Hyderabad. So we start with what is being proposed. Jainji, would you like to run this, or?
I'll come to the purpose. Chief.
Sorry?
I'll come to the purpose.
Okay. So Jainji would help with the running the session on what is being proposed. Okay? Please jump in and share. So the exposure draft proposes to introduce the concept of putting an objective to this regulation, and within the objective they have defined that it is to regulate and monitor, but they also given the definition, a repeat definition of the broker regulation. Moving to the next page, they've introduced the concept of broker qualified person, and they've defined as employee of the insurance broker for the purpose of solicitation and procurement of insurance business. They have not mentioned the director, and they have also, and this concept is somewhat similar to what we have the employees which were allowed to do in the previous regulation, solicit the business. They've introduced the definition of fee, which is a fixed charge for risk management or claim consultancy from the client, but which cannot be linked to the premium, sum insured, etc. They've defined key management person, which is similar sounding to key managerial person in the Companies Act, but different from that. They have not included chief executive officer, but they mentioned chief marketing officer, chief finance officer, chief technical officer, IT head, insurance compliance officer. They defined the word risk management. Any sort of insurance risk management service such as risk assessment, risk advisory, risk mitigation and risk minimization. They have amended certain definitions which were already existing. They have amended the definition of composite broker, direct broker, reinsurance broker and principal officer. While amending the definition, something which we will see more in the proposal what we are doing, under the direct broker definition, for example, earlier the direct broker was allowed to do any one or all of the functions of the broker, but now the definition has become a lot more narrow. It says it's only the solicitation and procurement. Intentional, by mistake, though they have allowed the risk management function, they have allowed claim consultancy in limited way, but the definitions are a little bit not in sync. Many of the definitions are not in sync with what we are supposed to do. Regulation 3. Ordinarily, one certificate of registration will be granted to an applicant. However, IRDA can give in exception situation, they've used the word member, which we believe means a promoter, can apply for another license of the broking, and this is something in complete contrast to what exists in another regulation which still exists, that only one group, one license will be issued. So that inconsistency exists but has been introduced. Kapil, we will request you to come over here. You've done a fair amount of contribution, so that will be really helpful. Kapil is our new board of director who was inducted. So instead of a license, insurance broker will now be granted a certificate of registration. It's a change of word, but I believe they are doing it in line with all the other intermediaries. They are defining the same way. Many of the changes being brought into the insurance broker regulation directionally are similar to what has been introduced in the loss adjusters, third party administrator and others regulation, including corporate agency. So they are bringing many of the philosophy and direction in a similar basis. They've introduced the concept of appeal against an IRDA decision to the SAT with regard to the application rejection. I believe that also holds for renewal, but in many of them, I'm not a lawyer by background, but I've done a fair amount of work, so I'm speaking from what I've understood, but I'll defer to many of the people on the table who has a better understanding. The factors for consideration of the application have been amended to include whether the IRDA has rejected the application or the applicant has withdrawn the application during the preceding financial year, whether the foreign investor or the Indian promoter or existing venture have exited during the preceding 2 financial years from the date of application. They've introducing a concept, they have done in web aggregator regulation, they have done in others, that if an existing promoter exits the business, then he has to have a cooling period of at least 2 years before he is allowed to re-enter the business. But IRD always reserves the right as an exception to still grant the license without waiting for the 2 year. IRD holds, and that I believe they have also done for the insurance company. So many of them are, they are doing for all licensed entities. IRD holds the view that the grant of certificate of registration is in the interest of policyholders, so they reserve that exception right. They have also introduced the grant of new license with the concept of in principle approval. It is not like the R1, R2, R3, but it is a one stage in principle approval. But this in principle approval doesn't mean that one can do the business with this in principle approval. It's like you know that you're likely to get the license. So they have introduced a two-stage licensing process. And if a license is rejected once, there's a cooling period of 1 year. They have introduced that concept. And they're also bringing in a concept that while a license is being renewed of an existing broker, among the various categories which are prescribed in the regulation, a broker's category can be altered while renewing the license. How it will be altered at the discretion of the broker or the regulator, those things are not specified, but they've introduced the concept of that can be altered at the time of renewal of the license. Regulation 16, if an application for the renewal is refusal by the IRDA, the applicant shall provide service for the existing contracts until expiry of 6 months. So if the renewal is not given, the commitment to honor the servicing of the policy for the next 6 months is introduced. I understand this is one of the most important change which we have received comments from many of the brokers with regard to Regulation 19. The capital requirement has been doubled for a new applicant. There is not sufficient clarity with regard to what happens to the existing broker. We will get into the details of this particular regulation as we discuss in detail. Some of the interesting aspect of this is the capital has been doubled, but the net worth requirement has been halved. So effectively, the net worth requirement remains the same. The deposit requirement has been halved, therefore the deposit absolute amount remains the same. So this gives a hope that probably the existing broker and the clarity required at the time of renewal, whether we will be required to enhance the capital, because at the time of renewal and at the time of giving our certificates, the capital requirement we will be stuck. So the way the regulations is currently drafted, while giving the certificate or the time of renewal, unless it is amended clearly, the existing broker can also get trapped. But the way it was drafted, it gives an impression that their intention might be to allow the existing broker to go. We do not know. We need clarity on this. So that's where we stand on the regulation. Regulation 20. The total foreign investment is now going to be governed by central government in line with all the other regulations they have done for all other intermediaries. Regulation 21, all insurance brokers should be compliant with Indian owned and controlled criteria. I think they have implemented this across insurance sector, that the control rests with the Indian control. Regulation 20, the net worth requirement has been reduced to 50%, which we already spoke. The deposit requirement we spoke has been reduced to half as a percentage, but absolute amount continues to be the same. The insurance broker shall follow the process of transfer of shares as specified. They have given a particular format. There are certain details we can discuss as we go to the later part of the regulation. The remuneration is as per the IRDA payment of commission, remuneration or reward to the insurance agents and insurance intermediaries. Under the IRDA payment of commission remuneration, which you are all aware, which was released. Fine, sir. So, which was released, the remuneration is defined item under the broker regulation, no, but is a defined item under the IRDA remuneration regulation, and over there the remuneration is from an insurer, not from the client. The remuneration is from an insurer, and the cap is for a remuneration from an insurer, which is specified over there, and there is a concept of reward which you are all aware of. Regulation 27 introduces the manner in which risk management services may be provided by an insurance broker. So if they have given the manner, and they have also provided essentially that the payment for the risk management service can be mutually decided and agreed between the broker and the client. So they have gone very explicit, which is welcome. They have introduced a very interesting, on the third, they have said broker cannot take remuneration and reward and risk management fee for the same risk. Now, we believe it could be a typing error, because the entire heading is risk management service and every single line is about risk management service. If we read the same English the way it is written, it means any customer who is taking a risk management service from you cannot become your insurance broker client, and a client cannot take in risk management service, which looks like a joke, because the whole idea is to promote risk management service for your existing clients. So we applied a lot of dialogue with our legal advisors, and the logic we felt, it looks like a typo error. If the same word is added for the same risk management service, then it may make a logical sense. It means if you have received the remuneration for the same risk management service in the form of reward, because reward is allowed for some risk management service also, then you should not charge a client twice. So that seems logical, and the entire paragraph becomes logical. But if the management service is not added, this becomes like a joke. Regulation 28, claims consultancy by insurance broker is now permitted for claims not exceeding rupees 10 crore, provided the claims emanates from a policy which has been placed by the same insurance broker or any other insurance broker. Now, this was earlier, the limit was 1 crore. Now it has been raised to 10 crore. I want to share something very interesting which is ironical again over here. Under the code of conduct, a broker was allowed to take claim consultancy and recovery assignment on your existing placement of work and charge additional remuneration as per the code of conduct, remuneration conduct 11. They have removed both code of conduct remuneration 11 and also ability of an insurance broker to provide additional claim consultancies and recovery service on your existing client. So if they have removed this, means you cannot do, as per the current English language, the way they have drafted, you cannot do recovery assignments and at additional fees for your existing clients, which was allowed till date, which is again ironical because claim consultancy is very important for the policyholder, but that has been somehow taken away even for existing customer, though they have raised it to 10 crores. They have also prescribed the process by which one can seek an approval from the IRDA transparently within the regulation as to how you can seek an exemption from the services. Regulation 29, insurance brokers are required to have a board approved policy for comparison and distribution of insurance products. The language provided for comparison and insurance product looks as if it is not applicable for an insurance broker. It looks more like some sort of a corporate agency or web aggregator guideline. It may be a copy paste from some other regulation, but it cannot be for a broker because it defeats the purpose of broker representing the policyholder interest the way it works. But it has been introduced. Regulation 32, for co-broking, they have required a concept of terms of business agreement to be entered into if you do a co-broking, and they have specifically debarred a co-broking concept for retail and individual lines of business. Am I going too fast, too slow? Fine. Regulation 34, regarding maintenance of books of accounts and records, a schedule providing details of all incomes received per insurer and insurer group company and also payments received by the groups, associated, related entities of the insurance broker from any insurer are to be provided. This is very onerous, and it will be a huge amount of data compilation. I don't know how many brokers track the level of detail of insurance premium plays, brokerage to that level of detail per insurer wise. So there's a lot of data compilation and submission which is being put, and particularly for broking companies which are part of a large group, interlinkages, payments with insurer, dealing, receipt of any services from the insurer, a whole lot of data has been asked for. So just an alert that the examination is going to be very, very detailed on this one. Regulation 34B, every insurer engaging an insurance broker shall file separate certificates for each such insurance broker with IRDA if the remuneration and other payments made to insurance broker exceeds the specified limit. So again, a filing of any excess payments done to be specifically done in a particular certificate form. Regulation 36. In what manner and what services an insurance broker can do an outsourcing of its own services have been specified. These are similar in terms of structure to what they are doing for insurance company. So if an insurance broker wants to outsource some of the services, what is core activity, non-core, they have got into all the details and they have been specified into the Regulation 36 under the Schedule T Form 10 of the exposure draft. Regulation 38. The requirement that in case of a foreign inward remittance, business to insurers, reinsurance in India, if such placement involves an insurance broker, shall be through a broker, has been removed. Let me explain a minute what was there in the current regulation. The current regulation required that if there is a inward business into GIC, New India or any of the insurance companies in India, and there is an involvement of a broker in that whole thing. So say suppose a broker in Dubai or London is sending a business into GIC, there was a requirement under the existing regulation that that business has to be compulsorily routed finally through an Indian licensed broker. We understand that was an existing thing, but that has now been taken away. The rationale for having the existing thing was that some of the reinsurers who are writing international business in India like GIC New India, they have a very big amount of unreconciled balances because they do not have an ability to chase unlicensed brokers outside India because they are not in control of IRDA. So the hope and approach was if they route the business through necessarily an Indian broker, then there can be a follow-up and this reconciliation could be avoided. That could have been good for the market, but I think with the representation coming from the reinsurer, the GIC has taken this away. So at one hand, they are making it compulsory under order of preference to route everything to GIC and the foreign branches which has been set up. And even the existing ability of the broker in India, which was in the regulation, they have taken it away. So which is again, they have taken away what was already there with us. Regulation 39. Periodical returns are required to be filed as per format specified under the BAP. Any false or wrong concealment of facts in a certificate shall attract penal action as per Regulation 51. Regulation 41 now provides the manner in which amalgamation and transfer of business can be undertaken. So they have provided a broad approach. They have also introduced the concept of transfer of business. So it means if a particular broker wants to sell a particular book of business, it can be done, but all of them require prior approval of IRDA. So which is a welcome thing. It will allow amalgamation, merger, acquisitions, and also transfer of business. So somebody wants to exit retail line of business or particular line of business. So those enablement has been specifically provided. Regulation 44. Sale of insurance online by insurance brokers shall be as per IRDA insurance web regulator aggregator regulation. They have simply linked the online business to the web aggregator guideline. I know many of the online brokers have specifically commented that many of the things which should be mentioned within this regulation have been thrown into two different e-commerce guidelines and into this. Guidelines on insurance e-commerce of 9th March 2017 also has been referred, which needs to be complied. Regulation 45 and 46. Sale of insurance by telemarketing mode by insurance brokers shall be as per the WA regulations, and insurance brokers can undertake outsourcing activity only to the extent of telecalling as per WA regulation, which is web aggregator regulation. This is a very interesting thing. This is a positive thing to some lot of extent. First time an insurance broker is allowed to be an outsourced service provider to insurer. It means over and above what we are doing in a solicitation, remuneration, we can act, the web aggregator business model, they make a lot of money through becoming an outsourced service provider to the insurer. So that same thing, level playing field has been extended to us. I can share that I had opportunity to raise this issue in numerous occasions at IRDA that there has to be level playing field on the online business, and I think IRDA has tried to accommodate this, so I think this is a very welcome and positive thing, but it needs to be elaborated in detail for the true benefit to come to our broker friends. Similar conditions applicable to distance marketing as well. Regulation 47. Penalty for a person acting as an insurance broker without a valid certificate of registration may extend to rupees 10 lakhs. So these are modifications from the existing one. Regulation 49, failure to maintain net worth and deposit requirement and undertaking of multi-level marketing are grounds for suspension of certificate of registration. So they specifically specified that if you do not maintain that, they can suspend your license. The functions of a reinsurance broker now include the obligation to comply with the laws of local jurisdiction while arranging reinsurance for foreign insurers. So the good part is that reinsurance broker and composite broker, there's a specific mention now, can do cross-border transaction. That is, they can do foreign client and foreign placement. So an insurance broker sitting in India can get a client from Thailand and place it in London market, and they can do within the same license. Only requirement is a disclosure to IRDA, but that has been specifically noted. Though many of the brokers were doing, but inspection department many time was creating problems, but that clarity has been brought in, which is welcome. The functions of a composite broker now include the obligation to not influence the insurer so as to be appointed as a reinsurance broker for the same contract in which he or she is appointed by the client to act as the direct broker. So if a client has given a mandate as a direct broker and there is a reinsurance opportunity on the same placement, the regulation specifically provides that one can act as a reinsurance broker as well. Earlier it was also not disallowed, so people were acting, but now it's specifically allowed. But it says that the two are different, and the appointment of the reinsurance broker is a discretion of the insurer, and you should not influence that decision, and there should be separate controls with regard to direct broking and reinsurance for that particular transaction specifically. This is in line with what we are saying in Taiwan, China, Indonesia, and many markets, that separation of the two. Additional information regarding address, contact details, qualification, experience in insurance broking services, share in applicant company, directorship and other companies, DIN number, Aadhaar number of the principal is now required to be provided. Aadhaar numbers is now becoming mandatory in numerous situations, including for every broker qualified person. And the understanding we are getting from the IRDA, looking at all the regulation, the way the changes are being done, the drive at IRDA is towards, if any insurance policy is sold other than sold by the machine, that is online, if a person is attached with the policy, either with the insurer or on the agency or on the broking, the Aadhaar card number of the person who's selling the policy will be attached to that policy. So the mis-seller at an individual level, they will be able to create a database that which are the individuals within the insurance market professional world who are the source of mis-selling. That is an attempt being made in terms of data creation, and that is being also brought to the insurance broker. Similarly, that obligation is being done on insurer for their direct sell, corporate agency, and every other intermediary. That is the understanding. Additional details of key management personnel regarding address detail have been asked for. Details of Indian promoters and both Indian and foreign investors now required to be provided separately. Remuneration. It is now required to indicate the range within which remuneration has been received by the insurance broker depending on the nature of insurance business. It is like insurance company, the range of pricing, they are looking at a range of remuneration. I don't know whether we can decide the range of remuneration. It is so much decided by the clients. We all are aware, but that's to be provided. The non-refundable applicable fee and renewal fee are required to be paid by the insurance broker per Schedule 1 Form D. The revised non-refundable application fee is as below. Direct broker rupees 25,000, previously it was 20,000. Reinsurance broker is 50,000, previously it was 25,000. Composite broker is 75,000, previously it was 40,000. Renewal fee for insurance broker has been revised and is required to be paid upfront for a period of 3 years. So it's one shot single payment and an absolute amount which takes the administration for IRDA and the insurance broker away, but it could be a little bit higher amount for some, and we need to check that. The additional requirement for the principal officer and broker qualified person regarding the minimum educational qualification and professional training and examination are to be complied with. The principal officer and broker qualified person are now required to have a valid certificate issued by NIA Pune or other body recognized by the IRDAI, as you are aware, and they are required to comply with a list of requirements regarding such a certificate. The requirement regarding certification and qualification for the point of sale person should be in accordance with the applicable guidelines of point of sale person. Some of the things in this presentation, I would encourage that people should go through the entire exposure draft in detail themselves. We have tried to highlight at least 70-80% of the changes, but there are still number of changes which are not there in the PowerPoint presentation. I recollect even the broker qualified person, when he or she changes job, it requires a clearance certificate from the existing employer, and if the existing employer doesn't give a certificate within 30 days, it is deemed to be given. But those kinds of ideas have been introduced. It could be considered good by some, it could be considered bad by some, but those are the ideas. But there is a lot more administrative requirement of compliance on every aspect of what we do as a work. Code of Conduct Insurance Broker Schedule 1 format. The written mandate obtained from the client to represent it to the insurer now to be valid for only 1 year in case no validity period has been mentioned. So if you get an insurance broking mandate from a client, unless specifically mentioned that it is long term or open for more years, it will be considered that it is only for 1 year. The very positive and a welcome thing IRD has done is that on the retail and individual lines, there is no compulsion of obtaining a written mandate. This is a beautiful thing, particularly for our small brokers, retail brokers. It is a huge relief because we all know who do the retail business that how challenging it is to obtain a specific written mandate and file them, keep them, store them for 10 years. It's nightmare. So that IRD has dispensed with. It will increase insurance penetration, particularly through the insurance broker mechanism, because we have the ability to throw quote of 5 insurer, which many of the agents do not have technically, though they may be doing it. And our ability to, without obtaining a mandate, to get that business is phenomenal. So I think it's probably one of the very, very positive thing for a small retail and individual lines broker.
So already there is no small motor, no small shop. Who is no one is asking. The only for carpet we are getting the mandate. So small even now also they are not asking. Yes. Suppose someone has got about 3 years. Now he says that one year. Then again every year he has to go through this practice to get a new one every year. Right to remember it. Then 10 other brokers will come. I think earlier it was better. That once you take it for 10 years, I am utilizing one letter for 10 years.
Let's have a discussion on this subject and see the view of the house, whether it is better or not better. But my understanding is this is better. Sorry? Now it has been removed. Sorry? Now they have taken it away. So it is good. But he's saying it's not good, so I don't know. I completely agree with you, sir. It is a problem faced by every small broker because retail and personal line, the mandate was a compulsion. Now it has been removed, so it's a very welcome change.
We will finish this, Sanjay, then we will go for discussion.
Thank you. Narendra, good. I think it's a good discipline. We'll just complete it. We'll follow the structure because we have a limited time. We need to utilize the best time for everybody. Otherwise, we can go haywire. The documents obtained as per KYC norms are required to be shared with the insurance company. So there's a specific mention that the documents now need to be shared on the KYC to be obtained by the insurance broker and shared by the insurer. We need to examine the implications of these because it could be very onerous. KYC norm implications sometimes can destabilize your business, so we need to keep a watch on that. The insurance broker is now required to assist the client in opening e-insurance account. The insurance broker is now required to assist the client in obtaining and receiving electronic issuance of insurance policies. Agents or canvassers cannot be employed to bring in business except as permitted under these regulations, which is a very interesting twist. We do not know what is being permitted in the regulation, but there is an enabling clause. Enabling clause without enablement. It is now mandatory for the broker to not favor any particular insurer while arranging insurance contracts to client. It opens up for dispute that an insurance company can complain, I am not getting business from this particular insurance broker. Funny, but that has been introduced. The reinsurance broker, composite broker is now required to enter into a terms of business agreement separately for each contract of reinsurance. These are interesting developments for a reinsurance and composite broker. It requires for each contract on the reinsurance, each time you get a business, you have to have something called terms of business agreement with your insurance company, which specifies remuneration as well. And we know that remuneration amount varies as a percentage and all those things, so there will be a lot of confusion, but there's been brought in. Some portion is good. Reinsurance broker, composite broker is now required to confirm to the insurer the remittance of premium and receipt of the same by the reinsurer within 10 days of such remittance. While placing reinsurance business of a foreign insurer with any other foreign insurer, reinsurer, the reinsurance broker is required to ensure compliance with the applicable laws of those jurisdictions, which we already discussed that a broker is now allowed to do. Now, there are a number of other things which have happened on the reinsurance broker, which are there in the later part of the presentation in different forms. But just to highlight a couple of them for the benefit of reinsurance discussion. One, first time IRDA is now specifically allowing that a reinsurance composite broker can earn interest on the fiduciary account which is being maintained with the broker, which is in line with all other international market, because India was the only market which was not allowed, but they have allowed that now. They have brought in a very interesting concept that you can earn the interest for the first X number of days, and thereafter the interest belongs to the insurer, reinsurer. So that there is an incentive for the broker to remit the money abroad in time. Or they are allowed to earn for a longer period of time, till the time it is part of the terms of business agreement. So I think it's a very progressive and a positive step, but a move in the right direction. But with a lot of caution. Second interesting change the regulator has done, which is again a very positive and a welcome step, is that the refund of the reinsurance premium which was coming from the reinsurer, for some strange reason the regulation was saying it has to come directly to the insurance company. And we all know it was technically impossible because the accounts were not set up like this. So that administrative impossibility which existed in the previous regulation has been streamlined, and now they allow the refund can also be routed through the reinsurance broker and the composite broker, which is a practical thing to do. So these two changes have been done. Now in terms of the various schedules and application of forms, I'll quickly complete in the next 5-10 minutes. The Schedule 1 Form K application of renewal. Form M, documents to be attached with renewal application form. I'm just getting into some of the details, you could have a look. The format of shareholding pattern has been specifically provided with the different categories. Stipulates the manner of calculation of equity capital held by foreign investors. It is in line with the way all intermediaries, insurance companies have been done. Schedule 2 Form T provides for the process of transfer of shares of the insurance broker which will result in change in shareholding. Application seeking transfer of shares of the insurance broker is required to be formed in the Form TA. So they have made all the forms now applicable which existed within IRDA but were not known to the brokers, but now they have all displayed transparently, which is a welcome thing. Maintenance of professional indemnity insurance, they have brought in a cap of 50 crore and they've also made it 2 times the remuneration rather than 3 times the remuneration. Similarly, for the reinsurance broker, the cap has been introduced to 75 crore, and for the composite broker, the cap is introduced to 100 crore. If we compare these caps with London, Singapore, Australia, Hong Kong, even the most mature market, they are still on a little bit on a higher side. The mandatory caps in any of these markets are not very high. Rest is your choice. So I think this is again a welcome and a positive step. But the 2 times remuneration reduced will reduce the premium of all our professional indemnity policies as well. The composite broker, reinsurance broker is required to remit, we already discussed. The interest on recovery payment received, we already discussed. The certificate is now required to be issued by the principal officer and director of insurance broker on segregation of insurance money. Rather than the chartered accountant or the auditor, the segregation of money certificate has to be issued by the principal officer and a director, which is again removes a lot of burden of running to the external party. You know your business, you certify. So a self-certification process is a welcome thing which has been introduced. Certificate by insurer. The format of the certificate to be submitted by the insurer, duly signed by the CEO, CFO of the company, in case the remuneration and other payments made by the insurance broker. This is with regard to the excess commission if you receive from an insurer, that certificate format has been prescribed. Certificate by the broker. The format for the certificate to be submitted by the insurance broker, duly signed by the principal officer and CFO of the broking company on remuneration and other payments. That's we discussed already, it's a repeat. Then Annexure 1D, a certificate is now required to be issued by the principal officer and director of the insurance broker on remuneration received by the broking company. So those format of receiving, how you are receiving the brokerage from each insurer has been provided, which will be onerous, but that has been provided. Insurance broker is now required to seek the approval of IRDA for undertaking any scheme of amalgamation, which we already discussed. For any M&A transfer, prior approval forms have been provided. IRDA shall process and pass appropriate order on the application within 90 days from the date of receipt of the application. So these are, I would say, still a high-level summary of the changes which are there in the draft broker exposure draft. There are other changes as well. I would encourage all of you to please go through this reading. Now, as we discussed, may I request that we all are very organized so that we get an opportunity to hear the voice of as many broker friends over here rather than 1 or 2. And may I move around and request each one of you that what comes in your mind are the most important issues you would like to raise. We will make a note of your suggestions. May I request that your suggestion should be right now. We will have a long open debate also. We want to have a debate, dialogue. But right now, for the time being, let us get a sense of the whole house rather than a view of only one mind. Okay? Because all of us will be better, because the value of collective mind is better. So may I request everybody gives a suggestion. You could suggest 1 item, 2 items, or max 3 items, so that we don't suggest 20 items. We will have all the list, and we will be making a note of your suggestions. Keep it the suggestion brief and short, where you think we need to focus in terms of prioritization. Okay? We will be making a whole lot of suggestions. So may I move the dialogue and everybody can speak aloud. No need for introduction because everybody has introduced themselves. Just share what is your suggestion. Before this, Hemang Janglaji wants to make an announcement for the benefit of all the people who are on the video.
Hello. Hello, friends. I think all are viewing all the members or the friends or other people who are watching live. I think again I request them to send their, as our president has asked everyone to send a suggestion. So you can send suggestion via SMS, via tweet, or you can go online live by Skype. So you can send the SMS on 8169175933. You can also tweet. Twitter handle is @IndiaIBAI or Skype video call ID Hemang24, Hemang74. So please I encourage all of you to take maximum participation, and as the president says, kindly give your suggestion or any of the comment. Thank you.
So each one of you, I'll try and, may I request, each one of you should try and, even if you have one suggestion or two suggestions, we just want to see how many people want to focus on what areas, We want to focus on our priorities. Yes. So, you like to start, sir? Louder.
There are many, but I will only have the regulation 28.
Okay.
On the claim consultancy, it has been increased from 1 crore to 10 crore. When we represent a client from our side, my suggestion will be it should be the client option to whom he wants to appoint as a claim consultant, irrespective of what the value is. Undoubtedly, as per the regulation, broker has a mandatory duty and responsibility to serve for the client. But if at some point of time the client feels that the broker is not able to do the job, why the regulation prevents not to allow that right to the client? So I always prefer that should be made it open rather than putting these restrictions.
So we are making a note. I'm not commenting, counter commenting. We'll just move the mic continuously because it allows everybody. So what we have noted for the benefit of all, he's saying we work for the customer and claim consultancy should be entirely a choice of the customer. If he wants to give a claim consultancy, ARD shouldn't prevent it. Point noted, sir. Should be open. Next.
Yeah, extending on that, both the claims consultancy and the risk management, both should be completely, we should not be linked, whether you are, the fees to be charged to the client on the claims consultancy and even the risk management fees which can be done. I think it should be left very open because the remuneration is already controlled by the IRDA. So the restriction on how much you can charge, whether you can charge if you are already a broker on that policy, I think all that should be removed and you should be able to freely charge the client it is an arrangement between you on what risk management services you are providing and how much you can charge. So it should be left totally liberal on the risk management fees and also on the claims consultancy fees.
Point noted. So I'm making a note on that. It's entirely a client prerogative to utilize risk management claim consultancy without restriction. This regulation, they are saying, is restrictive on the policyholder not to avail these services, and the remuneration restriction is anyway from the insurer how much you are taking. Understood, sir. So we are making a note of that. Yes, sir.
Yeah. This is regarding the remunerations. That is 30% remunerations rewards at the end of the policy. Now, there are 26 companies here. Now, the reward matrix will be different for 26 companies. And for a broker to really analyze that which matrix, they have to work on the accounting format and all that, it will be a very, very difficult task. Because if you are placing the business 10, 15 companies and the reward matrix is different for 10, 15 companies, how are you going to arrive at what exactly you are going to get from each of the companies? Because there is no standardizations. Can you have some kind of standardization on the reward side?
Noted, sir. Next, ma'am.
I would like to make a point on the inward reinsurance. The taking away of the requirement of having an Indian broker for inward reinsurance, that's a little bit anachronistic. Anybody working in India as a broker has to have an Indian license, but you allow a foreign broker to place directly just because it's an inward reinsurance. That's anachronistic. We would like that to be definitely re-examined, I feel.
So we already have the ability to, basically you want a reinstatement of the same clause. What is there? Understood, ma'am. Noted.
On the capital increase which they are suggesting, I would assume
you can all suggest up to 3 if you want.
Yeah.
If you have
Yeah.
a few, one is also fine. Yes.
On the capital increase which they are suggesting, I would assume that for the current brokers, there will be a time frame to comply, and that will be part of the regulation. Normally, it is around 2 to 3 years to comply with the new one, and for new ones to come, this will apply upfront.
Yeah, I'm Saurabh from Mahindras. We had just some few points on regulation number 45 and 46, which deal with telemarketing, sale by telemarketing and sale by the distance marketing mode. So this has already been discussed, but we require clarity on whether activities, this talks of 45 and 46 talks of telemarketing and distance marketing being undertaken by insurance brokers to the extent of telemarketing allowed under the web aggregator guidelines. But what if the broker wants to outsource telecalling completely? Because telecalling is a pretty complex business, and all brokers are not experts at handling outsourcing. This was one point, and I had just another 2 points.
So can you elaborate? Because outsourced telecalling is permitted, so what's the concern?
The concern
so
is that
everybody should know the concern.
Our reading tells us that the telecalling is permitted as per the web aggregator guidelines. If you have a look at the web aggregator regulations that have been proposed, yet in exposure draft, not yet out, it states that the telecalling can be done by authorized verifiers who need to be necessarily on the rolls of the telemarketer, which means that the broker will have to obtain a telemarketing license and also employ authorized verifiers on their roles. It cannot effectively outsource. It essentially means that, according to us.
So we'll get this examined, maybe not up to this speed.
Yes.
And if may I also request that this is a little bit more technical for everybody to appreciate, though even if it's a short time, if you could try and just shoot a small mail, it just helps to make sure that we don't want to miss out on something technical also and something which is easy for understanding.
Yeah, our reading was that these clauses are pretty much self-contradictory. It shows that you allow, but somewhere...
Please do share, and if you can, we are all racing against time, so I'll request that as many people can send in email today something of this nature at least, yes.
And just a
Please,
couple of more points. Schedule number 2, form number T. There is a ceiling that has been put on the Indian investors, which is 10% singly and 25% in the aggregate. So what if we want to get an investor, if any broker wants to get an investor who is Indian, but will hold little bit more than 10%, because 10% is too small a stake for any investor to invest. So what does he do then if they don't want a foreign investor, if they want an Indian investor? And Schedule 2, form R, that is, there is one in that clause number 1, subclause number B, wherein it states that the Indian promoter shall not be a subsidiary as defined under the section 287 of the Companies Act. Now this is going to impact certain brokers, and especially brokers, I think, who are of large groups. So wherein the structuring of the shareholding is in such a way that there is a group parent, then there will be sectors within the group parent, and within those sectors, one of the arms would be the insurance broking arm. So now, yes, it is, the endeavor is to bring it in line with, bring all insurance intermediaries in line with what the rules apply for an insurance company, but then the risk that are taken by the insurance company are far different from the risk perception of the Indian broker, of the insurance intermediary to that extent. And if need be, we need to dialogue with the IRD to see whether it serves any purpose to have this kind of a change.
May I also request on something? This is again important for you and important therefore for us.
So it may
but
not
can you
be,
just, so, but I would like that you send in some sort of a detail and bullet points. It really helps. We don't want to mess out. This IBA is for you. So if there is a concern and it's really bothering you, please express and we will ensure that those are transmitted. And I will also encourage that you raise something of this nature to IRDA directly with a copy to IBI. So it just helps us to pursue that.
Okay.
Because we will get lost into the level of detail.
Okay. Thank
Please,
you.
sir. But we must follow up on this. Yes. Next.
David, एक minute. We have one SMS from Girish Mantri, Howden. Drafting error in regulation 10/2. The applicant word should be replaced with the authority.
We have made a note of that. Yes.
Yeah, we already
Thank
did
you, Mr.
Yes.
Girish.
So applicant with authority. We need a note. Thank you.
that. We have already done that.
It's good to see the entire system working. Thanks, Hemang, once again. Yes.
One of the issues of concern is following the KYC norms for the customers. What the regulation says, to get the KYC details, and that could be very cumbersome.
And then now we are required to give it to the insurer.
Insurer also, yes. So that should be.
We are making note of all the concerns. We'll throw open for dialogue. Yes. Next. Yes, sir.
First, I would like to talk about licensing. Now, licensing every 3 years, the licensing business has to be. We have discussed this so many times, but licensing should be perpetual. Maybe after a period of time, maybe 5 years, 10 years. Now, we all are matured. We are in this business for the last 14 years. Every time, every 3 years, if we are going for licensing, we are wasting almost 6 months in that. Now, for a small broker like us, it is very difficult to waste 6 months. And the way the licensing is being, they ask for a 90-day period and they still get back on the last day with their queries and penalties and all that. That is the most important point we need to discuss as far as the regulation is concerned.
I've heard this from a lot of brokers
and we
for
have
the last 15
always
years, this whole
facing
issue of
problem as
licensing.
far as licensing is concerned. So I think that should be the major concern.
How to make it simpler, if not perpetual, we'll discuss that. There's a thing. But I think licensing will discuss that. Yes, sir. Kadelji, may I request you, what we are planning, before you came, we discussed this. We will try and hear from everybody, and then we'll have an open question time also.
We should represent. We should represent.
What we will do is, we will deliberate on this issue.
And I just
making
want to
a note.
add some
Yes.
more points. In the sense, what is the process of licensing? We are already providing them data every quarter, every year. So what more they want every 3 years?
So data is
It's an
repeat,
harassment.
okay?
It's an
Okay.
harassment. That's all. Second point was regarding Regulation 35, sealing of 50% from emanating from one client. Now we have been facing problems with that because we do a large group, which is a growing group, and we are not able to maintain pace with other clients. So we always face problems with the sealing, and we have been levied penalties by IRDA, and that is the reason I'm asking for licensing. That every 3 years you go there, they penalize you on the last day, and
What should be the ceiling? What should be counter proposal of
I
IBA?
think there should be a ceiling on anything. It is a client's choice. Should I work depending upon the ceiling of a business, or should I work? It should be on number of clients. See, if I have 4,000, 5,000 clients, and a single client is giving me more than 50% business because I'm doing a small SME and all that, it's a disbalance.
Number of clients is a better option.
Yeah.
Premium amount. We should like number of policies maybe. We should like to understand what is the
It's a good idea.
motive.
See, I may be doing 1 crore or a 10 crore premium on one policy, and I may be doing 1,000 policy with the 10,000 rupee or 20,000. Is it in my hand to do that business? It's a customer's choice. So how can somebody put a pressure on me saying that you can't do more than 50% on a single client? It's a client's choice. And yes, it should be, but then captive broker word is missing in this regulation. So if the intention is that, then why they have penalized us before, and then where is that word captive?
Let them penalize the
No, that's why they have
That is
used.
fine. I
If you-
don't have issues with
If you
that.
see the
So,
explanation,
I'm making a note so that it's clear.
And one more
He's
point.
saying that for the non-captive broker or non-group related broker, at least the choice should be with the client. And if they are interested, at least they should look at number of policy rather than, if the one client is big, that's not your problem.
Yeah.
If the client is big, you cannot be punished. Understood?
One more, regarding the broker qualified person, the time frame for a person to get inducted in the company and the time taken to, get him qualified is almost 6 months. So if you have to open a branch, you have to wait 6 months or almost 4 to 5 months where you get him qualified, get a certificate. In fact, the certificate is coming after 2 months. Now we are in an age of We are in sort of fast stage. You know, the result is displayed on the screen immediately, and the certificate is issued after 2 months, so you can't open a branch. Now, if these kind of difficulties are there, obviously people will find some other way of routing business, which is not the right way.
So we need to give some specific suggestions also. So I'm making a note.
So the number of exams conducted by NI is also less.
Limited.
If it is digital, why not every week? Why you have to wait for a couple of months to get an exam? And then why you need to wait for a couple of months to get a certificate before you apply online to get a branch open?
We are making a note. We need to represent this very strongly. These are excellent points.
Even
excellent
penalty, you know, everywhere, including SEBI, BSE, NSE, penalties are defined for what you're doing. Here it is arbitrarily. For last 15 years, the penalties have been levied arbitrarily. This is absolutely against the law. It can't be that way. And you need to get a chance to represent. If your license is at stake, you can't represent. No broker, I think no broker except one or two has gone against IRDA, which is proving their authoritarian that, you know, you can't do anything to us. In a democracy, it doesn't work.
They have introduced a new criteria called IT infrastructure. So just wanted a clarity or just wanted some detailing regarding what all they will look for the IT. Would be server, hardware, or some kind of details what they would be looking at? Because see, servers and everything can also be shared from outsourcing agencies. Why to buy the server? So they say that yes, you have to have infrastructure, but then if they come and ask that no, you have to buy the servers or you have to buy that hardware and all things, then that will create lot of cost.
So I'm just making notes so that we don't go wrong. We should proactively then request them rather than only ask a question. If you ask a question, what should be IT infrastructure, they will give itna hard memory and all, will be into trouble. So we will ask them, rather than we'll tell them that there should be an ability of a broker to utilize IT either through in-house owning or rental or through cloud or whatever, you know, broadly. May I request, I'm going to be asking a lot of help from all of you because it helps me, to be honest, and helps a lot of our board members. Just shoot a note. We will be guaranteeing you that we'll be going through all your emails. That is easy to go. But to draft all the letters has become difficult. Just shoot me quick, just a couple of points, it helps. Okay? Thank you.
Today you can have a cloud computing, but the issue is that the regulation says that the servers must be housed in India. That's a separate regulation, which is almost impossible to do because you get the most expensive servers here, and so there should be. So what you have to propose is some standard that if you outsource it and put it on the cloud, it should be this kind of a vendor where you are sure of the quality of the server, rather than having the requirement to have the servers in India.
So Kapil, I'll actually use your continued help on the email which comes. I'll take your help. I think we are doing a lot of division of work within the board. You know, it just really helps. So he knows better than many others, so we'll do that. Yeah. Yes, Narendra.
So my theme is.
We have one more SMS online from with this done. I think Girish Mantri, can you?
Regulars 39 requires broker to submit auditor certificate on net worth every year after finalization of.
Whereas Annexer 1A 39 required broker to submit half-yearly certificate, which is contrary to Regulation 39.
Okay.
Should I reply that?
Yes, Jainji.
Because that yearly certificate from the statutory is given to once, while the half-yearly the certificate is given by the principal officer and
it's
one
a
of the
self-certification when
the self-certificate not from the auditor. So this is the difference between. It's not contradictory. Certificate is given by the different persons.
I beg to disagree on that. The format of certificate clearly mentioned it has to be certified by auditor or company secretary.
No, this time they have changed.
They have changed
for half-yearly, it is given by the principal officer and the one of the director.
But that is, I think, for composite and reinsurance brokers.
No, for all.
Narendra, your best 3 wishes.
I have got 8 jotted down.
No, but anyway, we will come to the next 5 later.
No, my theme is very simple. Where is ease of doing business in this?
Okay, give specific comments.
One specific thing is claim consultancy. Why the hell should we go to them for claim consultancy?
Point noted already. Next, I'm making one.
Cap on Indian investor. Why should there be a cap on 10%?
I made a note. Next, yes.
Then alteration of license. Regulator cannot do it on its own. They should give the broker, because my license was direct life in general. They arbitrarily changed to only general. They did not give me an opportunity to hear me anything, just imposed a penalty and did it. And coming back to him, 30% from a single client, 50% from a single client. Both the times I paid penalty. I paid penalty twice. What I have earned, I bloody, sorry for my language, I paid it to the regulator. Where is the ease of doing business?
So, Narendra, we are making a note. I think these are all very good points.
Coming
yes.
to SAT, on SAT, there should be a IBA representative. There has to be IBA representative on SAT.
On SAT?
No,
SAT,
no,
whatever
no,
they
no,
have.
no. It doesn't.
No, it has to be. It cannot
statutory,
be.
it is a statutory body. We cannot give that.
We
No.
like your wishes, but there is a limitation.
Yeah. My concerns
Sir,
for opening
Supreme
the
Court
branches.
में IBA जाना चाहिए अच्छा लगा सुन के लेकिन नहीं
Concern
होता
about
है.
the opening the branches. Then second one is a broker's training. Training may be in-house training, and exam frequently at least
Sorry,
every
little-
in-house training. Of 15 hours online training. This must be in-house training, and frequently at least every fortnight there is exam. And there's a difficulty to open the branches. Then
No, but we're making a note.
Yeah.
It's good to repeat if you have wishes. We need to know if something is more important, we are going to give more emphasis.
Yes. And of course, the consultancy service, there is a changes in the consultancy service to 1 crore to 10 crores. And existing clients are not allowed. That must be changed.
So I'm hearing, and it's good to repeat. If suppose your concern is claim, mention that, it's fine. Because we are here also taking a sense that when we go to the IRDA, we'll have limited time. And we have 100 points. And we'll submit everything in writing. But in terms of dialogue, we need to prioritize. Okay? So I'm hearing claim consultancy, risk management. I've heard the certificate investor. So we are just giving, I'm making a number, 2, 3, just give some. Yes, and
One
training.
point I want to add, we have to do every compliance, everything. There should be a time-bound mechanism for IRDA to deliver. For example, today, my specific case, I have submitted a request for infusion of fresh capital by my promoters on 27th October 2016. Till date, I have not received any confirmation. I received a letter from them on 10th of January asking me to give following compliance. I did everything. I put it on BAP. Now, bloody hell, BAP is not working. What am I supposed to do with that? हाँ ठीक है 2,000 रुपए दे दूंगा मैं नो प्रॉब्लम IBA को खुश होएगा ना अच्छा है
I enforce that there has to be a service agreement as much as from their side on various things which we look for, be it a renewal, be it whatever certificate, whatever it is
they can always charge
from their
fees
side.
and deliver on time. Timeline, time bound. It will be a little more complicated. The request from the brokers will be complicated in alteration or whatever it is. They could say that, okay, the smaller points we'll do it on the fees you pay. Anything above that, we'll charge a fee and we'll deliver it this time. That's agreeable. Rather than just putting their feet and dragging on for no reason, it just kills the whole soul of the business.
I think I hear loud and clear. These are great points. Loving all this. And this is the value, of coming together. Thank you. It's very useful. Next, move on.
Yes. So there are 3 points. First is related to telemarketing, which actually regulates now with the web aggregation model. Now, web aggregation model says that you can only do telemarketing through the medium the leads are coming to you and you are doing a calling. Now, there are various brokers in the community, probably in the life insurance, who are only doing telemarketing through a cold calling structure, which actually defies the model of web aggregation and doing a telecalling through a cold calling structure. So if I have a team of doing telecallers, like my dear friend said that you need to have authorized verifiers and you have to place it in your company, that also defies the logic of outsourcing. But for telemarketing, for doing purely telemarketing business by a broker, if I combine it with the web aggregation model, it defies the logic of telemarketing at all.
Yeah, then it's not telemarketing, it's web aggregation.
It's absolutely web aggregation. So I am collecting lead and calling my customers. But in case I have to do calling, then I can't do.
Let me ask a very innocent question. Previously, it was allowed?
Previously, there was nothing which was written in that. People were doing it.
And right now, it has been disallowed?
It is linked to web aggregation only. Now telemarketing is linked to web aggregation.
But
so
no,
web aggregation regulation says that you can only do calling on the leads which are coming to you.
No, that is one telemarketing. But I'm saying in the web the 2013 broker regulation, there is a specific areas regarding distance marketing, how a broker can do. Has this been taken out?
Yeah, it has been linked to now web aggregation only.
Completely
Distance marketing is now web aggregation only. So apart from that, everything is removed.
Still remain. So no, what I'm trying to get is the distance marketing, what was currently allowed, is still there.
It's still there, but with the
But
new regulation.
distant marketing and web aggregation is now linked entirely to web aggregator. It is not defined. Now the earlier regulation is out. They are saying that distant marketing and telemarketing regulation is now linked to web aggregation, new rules 2017.
So let me summarize the understanding so that we represent correctly. We will then represent that the distance marketing currently allowed should remain independent of a web aggregation.
Both things have to be taken care of.
Yes, and people doing web aggregation should also exist, but this
Absolutely.
also.
Absolutely.
Point
Because
taken.
that's also a positive move, so that should also remain.
So that is a positive thing we retain, but the existing what we have should not be taken away. We will represent in that manner. Okay.
Second thing, every time we say BAP, use BAP, everything has to be loaded on BAP. You load something and say and send a mail that the thing has been uploaded on BAP. The immediate answer which come to you is that the report which you have uploaded is not visible. Now we are talking of technology all the time, plus minus, you have to do technology, you have to come into web aggregation. When I say the report is uploaded, if they are not good at technology, how can the broker be good at technology wherein they have plenty of amount to support their technology? If I want to be in technology all through, I'll be actually irritated and harassed if I use the regulatory bodies technology. So there is no sync between a broker and the IRDA. Probably I'll see many of the brokers who are very good in technology, but the IRDA is not.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. May I request everyone, I think all of them are good points. We have a lot to cover and we can move a little bit more focus in terms of comments. Okay. So this is my comment, zup, zup. So we will move a little bit of a speech. Sorry, do not mistake me. I'm very conscious that we want to gain maximum value of this 2.5 hours. Okay. So we will all move very quickly and all the points noted, but short and quick.
Yeah, absolutely. Lastly is that the commission structure which is being newly introduced about the reward of that 30% portion is very complex. I need
Point
a
noted.
suggestion here.
Next. And may I also request everyone that make your comment very focused. What is the issue? And if you have suggestion, that's the same.
अजय जी अपनी टिप्पणी रखे उसके पहले कैसे मैसेज ले लेते हैं will we need approval from IRDA when entering into a call center agreement with the insurer as an outsourcing partner?
No.
Sanjay ji,
It is not allowed.
not allowed.
It is not allowed.
Sanjay ji, my request is general. Up to 15th, I think that you have to submit all the papers. And the time is very short. My foremost request is, work is more and everyone has to give the suggestion and definitely it's a painful job for every broker. So first thing, why don't you request to IRDA to extend the time for 15 days so that up to 30th April we can complete this job and give them and we can take all the views from our friends. Second thing, before this it started, I requested IRDA in my individual capacity also, कि sir have a two three member from this your committee regulation is framed, so that at the time of framing we can sit along with you and we can come on mutual what should be done, what should not be done. I don't know why it has not been happen. In principle, chairman agreed to constitute a committee having 2-3 brokers from our side, but I don't know. IB knows what has happened. Secondly, my immediate, I can speak now all the points, but I don't want to take your time today because everyone is there. Please first to send a letter tomorrow itself that let us extend the time for us. So the second thing, we should have come prepared that this is the what existing, then IRDA proposed, then what is our suggestion. You should have prepared, APIS should have prepared this and should have distributed all the brokers, then it could have been easy to specify question. So my request is, please prepare from APIS side the one reply, draft reply, then we would have discussed further what should be done, what APIS is taken. This is my request because you know the subject and Jain Saab is sitting here, he is working on the subject. I am in touch with Mr. Jain Saab. This is my request that first and foremost, you extend the time, and as on today, last Friday, I'm talking you 40 brokers, small broker, that have a less than 50 lakhs capital. This is a figure I got from IRDA. 40 members may lose their license. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Let's. I think a quick comment, what Kadelji has said. Yes, we have asked for time extension. We are, I've spoken to the chairman, I've spoken to the members, sir, I've spoken to Randeep ji. We have made a written plea, we'll pursue that request. The response from the chairman, sir, was, he said, broker regulation is probably the last regulation which is still left out, which has not been updated after the Insurance Act changes. So the Insurance Act changes required regulator to complete necessary changes required due to the Act, and then therefore make other changes as well. They had a time extension of only 1 year from the Parliament to complete all the changes. They had taken an extension for 6 months. That got expired. Now they've taken another extension which will be expiring in the May end. So they have an urgency to complete this before 30th May. So I had a detailed dialogue with this because, understand, if we have more time, we can fight it. So we will continue to push. When I had a dialogue with the members, they was joking that association is going very hard on the time, but we are also pressed on the time. We will give you all the time. So there's a lot of this going on, and they're targeting to take the broker regulation amendment on 15th May board meeting, which they're targeting. So therefore, that is the whole sense of urgency. And I think at one hand, we will fight everything to seek for time. There's no dearth of our push. But if we think that the extension will come, and we know this is an issue not only of IRDA, they need an extension from the government for, so we are into cash transfer. So that's one. With regard to association making their own suggestion, I think Kadil joined in late, so he may not be aware, so therefore his reaction. There is a whole list of presentation prepared by Jayanji, Kapil, Shelja, the lawyer, the team at Marsh, all of us worked hard, a lot of brokers have given comments, so that is already ready. We will be going through very quickly. But today is not about what association wants, it's about what you want, okay? So we will quickly complete the dialogue about each one of you are saying, and we'll come to the list and we'll see what all is missing and what we'll add and compile. So Kadilji, please allow to complete, yes.
Mr. Sanjay, you just told that they are not agreeing. I am sitting in front of IRDA, I was ex-president, I am day-to-day following. You should involve me. It was my duty to get action, sir.
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल सर आप भी ट्राई कीजिए ना लेट्स गो
I have
please go ahead
I have only one point, the seeding on Indian investor. Okay, this is a lot of detrimental impact on every broker who wants to grow beyond a certain size. I go to the market to raise capital, anybody with a 10% restriction will not come into the industry, not required. I can't understand any logic. If a lot of professionals in the industry want to get into broking and they don't have capital, now they can't raise also. Please look at it in light of the fact that I as a promoter am not allowed to borrow and invest. So I can't borrow and invest, I can't have an investor. So how do I run the brokerage? Another thing, large organization internationally, if you see, the core promoters own, now we have come to an age where core promoters own 0.5% and 1%. Okay, if you see very large companies. Why are we restricting 10% for Indian investors? So I have only one concern, and this has a very profound and a very deep impact on our business. So I want IBA to take it up with a lot of seriousness. It serves no purpose according to me.
And may also, this is a bit of out of line. While we are doing this dialogue, some of you have articulated some of the issues extremely well, okay? And the meeting which we have with IRDA is not only for the IRDA directors to go. We will be going and as many people who can go. But this meeting is open to all of you. I will encourage that some of you please spare your time and come along, because we will certainly represent what you are saying and what you have said and what you have said. But I will also request each one of you that if you are able to spare your time and let us know, this association is going to be a lot more open, not only receiving your inputs, but also you should have a direct dialogue under the association platform. This platform is yours. So I will encourage you, user, other also to give your names. And in case you have a time available, please come. We will also draft and share with you, okay? Good point. Next. I sincerely mean it. I need people to come together because you sometimes have a better understanding on the issue than what I could comprehend and others could comprehend. Okay, please, next.
My point is also on section 35 relating to 50% restrictions on the premium. What happened, we have been maintaining the balance till February, okay. Suddenly in March, what happened, some of the businesses could not be renewed. So there is a drop. So if I am penalized for something other, then it will be very bad for me. So that is one point I thought we should do. Second thing is about the directorship and all. No? The BAP is actually really BAP. I don't know whose BAP is that. So nobody knows when we put it somewhere. It takes actually months there. We don't know whether the directorship has been, if he wants to go out also, he is allowed to go, or somebody wants to join us here, he is allowed to join, we don't know. It's just hanging fire actually. So some points we'll have to.
The timeline.
Yeah, timeline is really very bad and all. Only those two.
Yes or no within certain time, 3 months, 2 months, you are there.
And penalty also, see in every law, even in the what's called criminal also, people say that you are penalized for 3 months jail, or let's say 3 lakh rupees fine. There is nothing is there. So they can put 2 lakh rupees also, they can put 20 lakhs also. Let us define what is the deviation and what should be the kind of penalty we should be charged. At least we will know how much likely to be the, our impact on our cost and all. That we should know.
Yes, sir.
So maybe the net cost will fall by paying the penalty.
Yeah, I'm going to be the unpopular one talking about 14 and 15, which is a raise of capital to 1 crore and 100% FDI. I think both these things are going to be the Hiroshima and Nagasaki bombs on the small brokers, right? I think Indian market, it's still, we are saying the penetration is very less and you want to deter new brokers to coming in with by increasing the capital. And the second part is Indian market is still not mature to have 100% FDI, whereas in other lines they've tried the 100% FDI, it's not worked. And I don't think it's going to work again in India. It's going to leave the whole market in shambles and drop down the prices at the bottom. And it's going to even cause more damage to the entire industry and the broker fraternity as such. So that's, these are my 2 points. My 2 wishes to be.
You want to make comment? No. Then next you, sir. Yes.
With regard to the capital adequacy, 1 crore, maybe for the existing brokers it may come delayed or it will not come also, probably, as you said. But the whole penetration, as he was mentioning about it, it has not encouraged new people also to come into broking. And we should look at predominantly, if you see, brokers are coming in only into metros or tier 1 or tier 2 cities. Tier 3 or rural brokers are not still encouraged to start up because of the huge complaints, huge complications. They end up taking multiple agency and run like a broker. When you come to a town like Thoothukudi, Hubli, you go just see there are a lot of people act like brokers without any regulations. We are being here, a rural market is not getting into penetration just because of the huge, regulations for a broker. If you want India to be broker driven, when UK can handle 3,000 to 4,000 brokers with 3 times the market size of us, 4 times the market size of us, they can handle 4,000 brokers. Why can't India handle 2,000 brokers or 1,000 brokers? Just because of the, maybe I should not use the word attitude. I'm not able to get a better word or a more easier, softer word. But there has to be pressure from IBA seeking that this brokership has to spread. Then only it will be healthier for all of us. Every nook and corner of India has to speak about the broking fraternity and the community, which they are doing a good job for the client. Is it true? We are doing a great job for the client at the end of the day, with all the unhealthy competitions.
Very true.
With all the unhealthy competitions. We are far, far superior in terms of service to any multiple agent. They don't have any authority, neither they have a commitment. If they do a lie to a client saying that this is covered and go away, they are gone away. They walk away. The end loser is the client. You take banks, they please push, take it, bank assurance. When a claim comes, you take Chennai, almost private companies, bank assurance, 50% is not settled. It is just still hanging. But for broker community, you take a list, a whole lot of brokers have put in their efforts.
So any specific suggestion on the broker regulation?
Yes. On the rural front, there has to be more leverage for people to start from tier 3 and rural front with lower, in fact, lower capital.
So I'm making a note in terms of suggestion. For the rural business, there should be a lower capital requirement and lesser compliance requirement.
Yes.
No.
I will not say complaints.
Just listen. You know the IMF concept, how it started? Insurance marketing firm. Because earlier we approached IRDA to lower the capital. And when we requested the IRDA to lower the capital because we have to go to the rural area, they immediately form another distribution channel.
But it is not.
This is distribution channel. In that channel, in that distribution regulations, they specifically said it is for the one district. At that time, it was said it is only for in the rural area they will give the lessons. Now they are giving everyone is coming for the metro areas. Nobody is going for the rural area. Even we approach, say today again we approach, again they will come with some other distribution channel with 5 lakhs capital. Then what will happen?
I will not even say let it retain at 50 lakhs. Let it retain at 50 lakhs. Promote IRDA and IBA
Sir,
has to.
50 lakhs, okay, 50 lakhs. Even say I am in the broking line for the last 15 years. I have not gone to any rural area to do the business. How many of us will go to the rural area to do the business? Any broker who is sitting here, can you open in the far off places? Nobody will go because it is not remunerative. Any business rural area, any rural product.
I am not called rural area. I am talking about even tier 3 cities or one step below that. I'm not talking about
when you
rural
talk about the tier 2 cities,
city like Toothukudi in South India. Bit potential, it's potential. Yeah. Another small point, one is...
Make it point only, please.
In terms of penalties, last renewal, my United India got renewed my professional indemnity with 1:4 sake. When I found it, it was almost 75 days. Then we immediately got it corrected. Quite surprisingly, we were penalized for a very heavy amount. For 75 days, not having a 1:1 professional indemnity cover. You could understand my point? 1 year.
Yes, sir.
Small point on claims consultancy. In that, the broker can handle the claims of a client if the policy is issued through them or any other broker. Is the broker entitled to handle a claim between the client and the direct insurance company? Why not? Because client can change any time to broker. He wants a service of a broker. If there is a dispute between him and the insurance company where he has got a direct policy, that may become a route for the broker to get the business by giving him a proper advice and directing him. So in that, I feel you have to put into it. Second one is, as far as broker can earn the interest, how can a broker, it is mostly reinsurers brokers, how can a broker earn an interest when the money is put into insurance account? Because that is a zero interest earning account. What is the procedure? Can I divert the money and earn the interest for 7 days? No. What is the procedure? Can it be highlighted?
We are highlighting that. We will see that in the presentation. Next. It's a good point, sir. Thank you.
Okay, a couple of things. Ceiling of business, I think so what has been spoken about. Captive brokers, I think so mentioning there will be very, very important because that's been a problem all the time. A TAT from IRDA for the response time. Last renewal, we had exorbitant penalties from IRDA and which we didn't accept. There was a lot of pressure. In fact, for the same activity, they penalized us twice. So we spoke to them, and after a lot of back and forth, I had to camp myself there for 4 days. When finally they released the license last time by saying, okay, fine, we will take the penalties separately. And then after following up, they said, okay, fine, go to SAT. We went to SAT. It's been 2 years. Now it is in the same way. IRDA is not even coming for representation. Now after 1 year, my renewal is due. And I know again, they will arm twist and say, okay, fine, either you pay or will not renew. So eventually, even if it is like you go to SAT, after 3 years, it will boomerang and come back to you. Okay, if you want a renewal or you want a penalty. So you end up paying it off. So 3 years or 5 years or 10 years will make a lot of change. And a TAT from IRDA, as much as we brokers have TAT, we have a TAT for a TAT also. So at least on this thing, there is a response time, what we should expect. Okay, we can't send reminders to them. We can't do escalations to IRDA. So once we send a request to them, we should at least have some day, okay, fine. In 7 days, 10 days, 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, they will respond. So some TATs from IRDA, I think so is very, very critical. Should be a part of it.
एक मिनट प्रणव एक मिनट we take one more message please. The new capital table needs to be implemented immediately, or do we be allowed some time? This is the existing broker, Fox.
Yeah, I think same comments observed. So good to note. This is seems to be a common concern by many.
There is a comment by Ashok Jain also. Request IBA to get 3-year time for increasing capital provided network criteria based on proposed capital.
Same thing I think we heard from Pathasati Sahab. So, but good to know that this is a
No. As per the regulation, it is As per the regulation, they said it is for the applicant who is seeking to become a broker. But only thing confusion has started when they are asking us some certificate. This is a certificate issued by the principal officer or the director that should carry the compliance of capital, net worth and deposit as per the regulation 19, regulation 22. It means it can be applicable to the existing broker also. That needs the clarification. That we have taken care of that. That we have taken care of that.
Yes, sir. Clarity on IT infrastructure, like hosting on Indian server. So that is required.
Next.
And second, like a duration of the license, especially for the small broker, 3 years, because those who have completed 3 or 4 renewals. So at least it should be like 5 years or at least like that.
After 3 renewals, it should be perpetual licensing.
Next.
I would again raise the point of capital as to how much capital a single investor can have, because
excuse me sir, please,
if we see the total capital requirement of a broker in the entire financial sector chain, the capital requirement is as less as any small intermediary in other financial sectors. So if only an Indian investor can take 10% and not more than that, I mean that 10% is no ceiling, and we are any which ways following the FDI sector norm. So I mean, having
so we are making a note on the investor point. We will represent it. What is the next point? May I request everybody, if suppose a particular point is discussed at length, you may mention that point, but don't elaborate. Then move on to the next point, so that we know that you also vote for that point, and we move quickly. So point noted. Next point.
And obviously,
I just want to cover up very quickly, everybody. Sorry, sir.
My other point was what Soundarya madam said as to why the foreign reinsurance broker can place direct business in India. I mean, why there is no requirement for him to tie up when we have a requirement to tie up in the other markets.
Excellent. So we will re-emphasize the inward business to be reinstored. Excellent.
Yeah. 2 things. One is, of course, the licensing period to be increased to 5 years. And the second point that I had was about the investor part. I don't want to repeat everything else. Is fine.
Okay. Good. Thank you for making it crisp and quick.
I agree with most of the points which have been put forward by most of the friends.
But if you want to re-emphasize, you can say these 3 points.
No, it's okay. Most of them, in fact. So there's no point repeating. There's one clarity I wanted on a particular thing, like the direct brokers who are operating in India are supposed to cater to the clients in India, insureds in India, and the brokerage is to be received on those accounts. But now what about the cases where these Indian insureds have fully owned subsidiaries in foreign countries and we are able to place the business for them in some other country outside India? So are we entitled for a brokerage on the
No, we have taken care of this point.
Pardon?
We have taken care of this point.
Oh, thank
we'll
you.
see that.
Thank you.
That was a request from a lot of direct brokers. They don't want to hand over their client to another reinsurance broker. They want to do some. So there's some suggestion being made. Excellent point. Yes, sir. Next.
Regulation 35 to be done away with. This relates to sealing on business from single client. This has been spoken.
So sealing from single client. Thank you, sir. We make a note again, sir.
Again, reinstating on the same point that sealing from the... Hello, can you hear me? So sealing from the single client is one thing, TAT from the IIDA on deliverables, and capital infusion by the promoters.
Yep.
Hi, this is Vinay. I have a suggestion on the back.
like income tax and service tax, how we can upload the data. What happens in BOP, you have to go physically and enter the full data on the site. And many times it gets hang and a lot of problems. If they give a solution like other department has given, like uploading of the Excel file in a converted format, that will ease off most of the problems. Some kind of a validation. Second one is a PI, professional indemnity. See, the professional indemnity should be calculated based on your brokerage, not on the service tax. IRDA is suggesting on the service tax also you have to calculate 2 times, 3 times at present.
No, they are not asking for service.
I have a note. If I want, I can share it with you.
Please do
they have
share.
given us the
no,
note saying that it should be 3 times.
Association will strongly fight back on this. This is wrong.
It is
Please
coming
share with
black
us.
and white.
If you share with us, we will fight it back.
Right. Third thing is regarding the reward. I think reward we should have the clarity that we have already spelled it out. The IRDA should give the guidelines to the insurance company. Your thought process should be on the same path. It cannot be a different by different thought process will be added by the different insurer. I think that's a shot.
Most of my comments are related to online sale of insurance. So from the first point that I have around 3 or 4
Mahavir,
points. Yeah.
Share 3 points, and if you have more, just shoot an email to us. It will help.
Sure. So the first point is basically that the online regulations are referring to Web Aggregator Regulations 2017, which are still not published. Our concern is basically that if there is any conflict or concern that comes up later, so we have a deadline to submit our comments by 15th. We're still waiting for the Web Aggregator guidelines to come in. If there are any concerns or comments that come up later, we will not have time to be able to react to them or give any comments. So we recommend that at least till the Web Aggregator regulations are not in, we are given time to respond. That's the first point. Second point is a very important point from an online sale point of view, which is related to premium collection. There is a lot of conflicting guideline that has been given within this regulation that has come up. The regulation talks about, first of all, it refers to ISNP regulations which have come in and which say that you have to collect money in the payment gateway that the insurer uses. Whereas when it talks about web aggregator regulations, then it refers that online brokers use web aggregator regulations. Web aggregators are allowed to collect money on their own payment gateway. And they are able to do a lot of stuff because of that, because in an online business, basically collecting premium online and the ease of basically the customer being able to make payments online is a very, very critical part of the business. So this is something that needs clarification. Third is a very important point. We see a lot of synergy between B2B insurance brokers that exist today and online insurance brokers like us, who are basically technology-led. We see a lot of opportunity in basically having co-broking opportunities between B2B insurance brokers and technology-led insurance brokers like us. So co-broking should be allowed in retail, is what we feel very strongly. Last is about the outsourcing activities that the insurance broker regulations talk about. It talks about that they are giving us parity in terms of taking outsourcing activities from the insurer. Since we are looking at parity with the insurance web aggregator, we would recommend that it should be equal. So whatever web aggregators are allowed, so basically anything which is post-payment and it's not core to the insurance company's core activities, should be allowed to us also. So it should be completely equal. It should not be restricted only to call center or telemarketing. Last point is related to basically, which is also already mentioned about hosting in India, which has been, so today, like us or a lot of brokers that work today, and we see that the technology abroad is much more stronger. The hosting, the quality of hosting, the securities are much more secure than what is available today in India. And from that point of view, all e-commerce websites today, which exist not in insurance but the other websites, are all hosted outside India. So from that point of view, the robustness and the secure network that the international cloud-based, let's say, networks provide should be allowed to India, which is a point which Kapil mentioned. So it should be based on quality and security and not based on where the server is. Thank you.
May I request Mahavir, you and many of the other people who have a very detailed, articulate, very specific suggestions, that send directly to IRDAI from the interest of the logistics, send a copy to IBI, send to us as soon as possible also, early also if you want to do that. We will try and incorporate many of the things, but we have a bandwidth issue, to be honest, not the intention. So I would suggest we don't want to miss out these points. We will raise them. I will also encourage people with spaces, needs, issues, if they want to come along with the idea, and we are a number which idea doesn't refuse. I would like to get as many out there. Okay? So I'm very sincere about this suggestion. It is your association. Please come forward. So I will strongly request, do not miss the opportunity of not writing to IRDAI, because if we don't write, our frustration remains within the room. We need to please write to IRDAI. So with you, you know, many of you, I'll urge, find time. This is an important moment for all of us. Okay? Please do that. Next.
My point here is for the solicitation of business through the broker trained person and opening of branches in Pan India, wherever we want. Sir, there is a turnaround time of training and examination. By the time if any broker wants to start any branch anywhere in India, he has to have that broker trained person to solicit the business. Sir, the turnaround time is approximately 3 to 5 months. So my suggestion is that while giving the license to the broker, and there is a specified structure in IRDA that there must be a principal officer in the company, there must be a key man person in the company. So why don't we request to the IRDA to attach that person who has already done the training up to the time when he has got the examination completed. Up to that time, that responsibility should be attached to the KMP of that person, KMP of that organization. If that person is soliciting the business of life, then it should be attached with the KMP of that organization. And if general, then it should be attached with that responsibility or the owners of that business for that duration should be attached with the KMP or the principal officer, so that we can immediately, that penetration will start immediately. Everybody need not to wait up till the time that person is getting the training certificate, examination pass certificate.
So the suggestion IBI is making a note. We will make it from our side. You also please make it.
Yes.
That existing broker qualified person in another location should be allowed to be tagged in for a new location for the initial period of 6 months till the time the broker person arranges the infrastructure turnaround time, which takes not because of his fault, because of the way the entire system works, 2 months delay at NIA and so on and so forth. Fair comment?
Yes.
So we will request that.
Can I
Please.
make a suggestion here?
Please, sir.
In order to overcome this hardship, the IRDAI has also issued a point of sale guidelines.
Which is separate from your own person.
Yes, which is separate.
But for the
you could have those people in your employ also. So it's
But
not
that is for selected product. That is for the selected product. Total. Selected product, they can sell only.
These are different. I understand your point. We will make that representation, and this suggestion is a kind of a partial solution, which should be aware. It's a jogad, okay? No, I take your point. No, we need to open a branch.
Life in general, two qualified person at the same branch, maybe that is not possible. A person in a HO can do both the jobs. Why can't a person at the branch can do both the jobs? Why you want two people, different people for that?
We can give an exam of life in general, a single person can do. Same person can give this. See, life in general, both.
You can do that.
And is allowed.
Because when you appear for the exam, they ask for an option.
इतना खराब नहीं है situation. Next. Jokes apart, yes, seriously. Yes, next.
My point is on submitting annual audited accounts in BAP module and submitting it to IRDA hard copy. The dates differ again. In BAP it is asked on 38th June, and again we have to send it here on 38th September. So we need a clarity, either on BAP they change it or either the hard copy.
We have taken care of that. We have taken care of this.
Excellent point. We are taking care of that. Next.
We take one SMS. Sandeep.
And we can also open the line for the people who are only on the telecall also. If they want to speak up, crisp, sharp issues which they would like to raise. So the lines are open.
IRDA says that broker cannot place business where they do not have any branch. My suggestion is that IRDA should not restrict broker for placement of business. Toral
No.
Upadhyay, Technopolis.
No, nowhere it is mentioned that there is a, nowhere it is mentioned. Just,
please.
Nowhere it is mentioned that the broker cannot place the business anywhere in India. They are allowed. So there is no such restriction.
Jain sir, but in inspection they are raising issues.
But finally, you educate and it gets resolved. But there's no restriction. You share the detail. We will like to take it up. Seriously. See, many times association cannot take up the issue because you don't.
Issue I tell you how
share
how the issue it depends on the number of policies you have placed. Say you have placed 10,000 policy in some other place at that particular place. So they may raise the issue that how you can handle the 10,000 policy at particular city when you are not having the branch. So yeah.
Details, yes. Before we get down to these
Another
suggestions.
point.
Yes. Okay. Sorry.
Regulation 3 talks about having only one license for a group, and I think they should, such a cap should not be kept. Somebody for a strategy as a group might want to have more than one license or one registration, maybe one purely for life, one purely for non-life, and that should be allowed by the regulator. That is one suggestion. Then regulation 29 talks about board policy on marketing and distribution tie-ups. So that also needs to be explained, because the board cannot do anything less than what the code of conduct or the functions of a broker, which is already defined in the regulations.
Sorry, come again.
Regulation 29 talks about board policy on distribution and product tie-ups.
No, it is. I think that it is. We have taken this is the issue
It
that
doesn't look like relevant for us.
Relevant
We have
for
taken
it is
up,
not
yes.
relevant for us.
Okay. And regulation 13.5, lastly, it talks about insurance broker to solicit and procure reasonable number of insurance policies commensurate with the marketing people or broker qualified people here. So how are they going? Are they going to average it out? Somebody who's doing a retail policy will do 500,000 policies. Somebody who's doing only corporate will do less.
No, now they have given the guidelines that every policy should be linked with a qualified person.
Correct.
Because you have to keep the data in such a fashion that they can identify that the particular qualified person how many policy he has done.
That can be done.
That data one has to prepare. No. From that they can, because I have seen that in life insurance they are having 3 persons, but in a year they are doing the 50,000 policies. Can you imagine whether 3 persons can do the business? On such a situation, this problem comes.
See, so you're talking
I want to
about
share
that
something.
people have sub-agents are being used.
Yeah. It is without.
But
so
otherwise, there should not be any restriction on the number of
there is
policies.
no restriction. On that basis,
IRDA, we had a couple of monthly meetings with IRDA just to understand their side of the view. Okay? Because many times the problem lies in they do not understand us, we don't understand them. Okay? So association took an initiative of having a very structured, regular dialogue. Jainji, Kedanji, many of them over here, Rampalji, we've been regularly meeting. So one of the things from their side, and I think it's very important, our duty is not to just make it like, oh, RDA is bad and all of us. No, they also have a concern, and it's very important we share their concerns because it's a dialogue. So they are sharing that some brokers, not all brokers, very few brokers, handful of them, sometimes misutilize their license and they tie up with hundreds and thousands of agents and they book the policy under the broker code and redistribute the commissions, and that kind of a models are on. So their concerns are from a policyholder protection, how can a single qualified licensed individual may be selling 10,000 policy, things like that. So I think so I think IRDA has their job to do, and it's good to raise concerns and we should also listen to them. It's a bit of a both way. Yes, next.
Thank you.
My points are somewhat repeated. Already we have covered the risk management services. Then on co-broking, I would say that terms of business agreement, really it seems to be a redundant thing because it should ideally be at the mandate of the client. There should not be such cumbersome terms of business agreements brought into play here. Then as people have voiced concerns on BAP, BAP filing is not smooth, and penalties are also not so defined, and I can feel that every time this is a matter of concern for the organization that when we are filing returns, the screens go away and all those things are not smooth. So increased regulatory requirement of filing returns on time, etc., without the concomitant technological improvements in the system would be always challenging, and it's a bit of a irritant all the time. In addition, this number 59, which is the general condition, on that I was wondering whether that it's mentioned that till the expiry of license we are to be governed by the same rules. So what does it mean? Like, I mean, this new regulations will come into play, so can there be conflicts on that? That has to be seen. And most of the others we have already covered. On risk management services, it's not clear whether if risk management services are, like say, we are doing it for a client and we are doing some valuation and those kind of exercises, can they be built for, the client will be built for it as per the guideline, it looks like that. But then, is it that the broking company would bill, or is it that we have to pass on the surveyor's bill or valuer's bill to the client? Those things are not really clearly laid out, I think. And in claims consultancy, claims exceeding 10 crore, there is a big section of guidelines and all which are following that section. This is 28C and D. It talks of claim exceeding 10 crore deals with it seems only with policies issued through brokers. It doesn't talk of other intermediaries. Whereas that which is below 10, it is talking of that you can't service of those of your own broking or other broker, but that means you are only opened, it has been opened only for direct business or bank assurance or agents business. So these things are still, I would say, are kind of gray areas there. So these things I feel should be addressed more clearly if they are to be brought within the ambit of these.
So my point is with regard to...
Sir, we will make very quick because I'm
very
just
quick.
sorry for about this.
Yeah, yeah.
You being the last on the speaking, it should not happen, but we'll make it very quick. Sorry,
Yes,
sir.
yes. See, my point is with regard to
1, 2, 3, boom.
To the client which we get through our overseas partner broker. Now current regulation do not allow us to share anything with our partner broker abroad. Now if we want to increase the business, this arrangement of sharing the brokerage with our partner broker overseas for the referral client is required, because those clients are of same mid-sized client, wherein no reinsurance requirement is there. So when you are getting, there can be one restriction that this sharing of the brokerage should be allowed to with the only broker which do not have their offices in India.
So you represent which broking company, sir?
JB Boda.
So if I remember this representation from your firm couple of years back also, and to IRDA.
Yes, sir.
So may I request, sir, this is a little bit specialized. Can you forward to IBI again and to IRDA simultaneously?
Sure.
It just helps, and we will also include that, sir, because some of them
Yes,
are
sir.
very specialist, so we need to do that. Yes, sir.
Yes.
We'll do that, sir.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
You are the leader. Press star now.
Yes, sir.
Sir, before we open up, I think we have a couple of messages, so I think we clear that.
You are the first participant.
Please discuss on payment mechanism of point of sale, please. Retail broker should be allowed to open escrow account with insurer.
No, so far the IRD is not permitted to open the escrow account, but the matter can be taken up with the IRD.
Okay, next one. This is done.
It is,
Next. Normally, prospective client asks for the
Sir.
quote from us, and we put lot of efforts, and later client is not giving business to us for various reason. Can you take some fees from prospective client if he opt not to place business?
What is being asked is there in many markets. It's between the client and you.
It is in every business, not only the insurance, it is in
Yeah,
every
drop dead
business.
fees. I think any service provider has a concept of drop dead fees. You make him work. Yeah.
Thank you. Next
So I
one.
think this is a good question. There should be I think what we are asking as an association is between the client and the broker, a service provider and a service taker, there should not be restrictions, because it's a denial of service to the service taker also. So I think that's our generic stand which we'll see. Next.
Over.
So I think it's been a great number of points. What may I propose is in the next. Okay, some of these ideas are requires a bit of a greater deliberation, and they are important to be discussed. I'm just conscious that we will, for the timing, just laser focus on the broker regulation for the timing, and we can probably attempt there also. But right now, may I request Jainji?
Yeah, we have one more from Sanjeevani Insurance Broker. The unaudited account for the year ended 31st March, as per present regulation, needs to be sent to IRDA by 30th April, which creates practical difficulty as many insurance company does not file their TDS return up to 15th May. So, suggested extend the submission either to 31st May or 30th June.
Excellent point. So, may I request that Jainji would just take you through the compilation which we have been able to do till now, okay? And we will add some of the things which is not there. So, you will see a lot of things which are there already what you have asked for, and to the level of detail which has been done. So, Jainji, may I request you to lead the presentation? I will compliment him.
Just to finish one or two more, that's all. Clarity about investment in mutual fund for the funds over 50 lakh capital.
That again we have taken up with the IRD because till date they say the over and above the net worth, that it should be the option of the broker to invest anywhere.
They say verbally, but again they create a problem.
No, but inspection they are creating problem.
Yes.
No, now it will be in the black and white.
So IRDA has said to us, ki show us one, please here. When we go that this is a problem, IRDA says show us one example where we have created a problem. And when we go to all our broker friends, says give us one example, we don't get any example. So I'm saying, if you share your problems with your association, it arms us to push back, okay? Anyway, I'll leave the thought. If you give us example, we'll fight back. We are here to do that.
Is it fear of taking the regulator on the wrong side? Because when you license goes to the people, then he'll rub you on the wrong side.
I think it's a choice people have to make. If we want to.
My suggestion, it should be part of regulation.
No, that is putting up.
That investment.
It should be put up.
Okay.
Yeah, it will be there.
We are going to represent that. Okay.
And the restriction should be there.
Okay.
When
over and above the net,
I think
over
this
and
is
above
okay.
the net worth.
I, these also come.
Janglaji, what I'll do is, may I request, I think we have to move swiftly now. We want to hear comments of others also, but I think it's important that we hear now, in the time allocated, what the compilation has been done. We can again open up the house, but we don't want to have a meeting, then we all go away without knowing what has been compiled. Please. So, Jainji, over to you.
Initially, we have, because the revised regulation have been started with the definitions, so we found that there is some discrepancy in the definitions also. For the example of the mic. First, the broker qualified person. It is very confusing. They have said that broker qualification, qualified person will be the employee. In some situations, the director is also a qualified person. So we have proposed the broker qualified person should be employee or director, because director is also proposing the business. So they said it means it is becoming that only qualified person who is employee, he can procure the business. And some of the broking company, there is a director who is also qualified person, but he is not employee, but getting the business.
So we are doing that.
We are taking that care of the definitions. And the definition of composite broker, reinsurance broker, direct broker, it is very confusing. Again, they have said remuneration or fees for procuring the business, while the fees is for the risk management or the claim consultancy. So they are restricted, such that we are asking them to modify the definition. Key management person. Again, it is very confusing because the short form is the KMP. KMP is used in the Companies Act, where they define the different persons who are involved in the KMP. So here the KMP are the different category. So once they use the word key management person and KMP, the short form, everyone will be confused whether to interpret in the terms of Companies Act or in terms of the broker regulations. So we are suggesting that it should be officials as per the IRDA, so terminology should be changed, so to avoid any discrepancy.
Or it can be in sync with Companies Act.
No, that will be more, that is already we have to follow. As Companies Act, you are already following. No, they want to include some more persons, because the Companies Act, they don't want the chief compliance officer. but they want to include the chief compliance officer also. IT head, they want to include that. In companies, it is not there.
जैन जी अपने बोला फीस की डेफिनेशन भी चेंज करें हाँ
That is next चलना ये next cooling off period though mentioned later but not reflected earlier part. In the cooling period they have not mentioned, it is to be included in the regulations. And there is some confusion about the regulation 10 subsection 2, 3, 5. The terminology as they have not used should be the authority, not the applicant.
I think this was also mentioned in one of the SMS. So same thing. There are many of these are typo, logical inconsistency, drafting issues, but we are submitting all of them.
So for the renewal of license, the basic problem for all the brokers, what we are proposing that for the renewal of applications, once we are submitting all the information on the quarterly basis, half-yearly basis, annual basis, so while applying for the renewal license, we should give only if there is any changes from the date of last submission of the data or there is additional data is required. Not that again we are repeating the data for the last 3 years. So that we are proposing that it should be, so that it will ease the renewal of the license. And one thing more that though it is a demand from the maximum number of brokers that we should seek for the perpetual this thing or 5 years. To be very frank, I don't think we should propose, because what is happening in Insurance Act, it is well defined. The license for the intermediaries will be of 3 years. And as Mr. Kadel said last time when the amendment was taking place in the Insurance Act, it was put up before the Finance Committee and Parliament Committee. They did not agree. The result is that surveyor license reduced from 5 years to 3 years. So they want to put at par with all the intermediaries.
And we can take this representation when the next Insurance Act amendment takes place with the central government. It's not an IRDA matter. But on the IRDA, on the license side, there are 3-pronged strategies which IBA is proposing. I don't know how many will succeed. One, on the renewal information, we will be making an attempt further to make the renewal form to be very simple and very short. Because IRDA is continuously monitoring 6 monthly, yearly, so many things are going on. So we want to say that before the Insurance Act got amended, I don't know how many of you are aware, and these are the learnings we are learning from our appointed lawyers. Insurance company had only 1 year license. Will you believe this? Insurance company license was only for 1 year as per the Insurance Act, because the old Act, 1938. So the insurance company renewal IRDA used to do with a very simple one-pager kind of a very simple form, and it used to get done. So whether we get that level of liberty, but our direction should be, they have done this in the past, the renewal process should be short, simple and quick. So we will be pushing on that direction. Second demand we are going to be doing, which is mentioned over here, most problems happen when you do not know the decision till the last day of your renewal. We are going to be making a very vociferous demand on this particular issue, that IRDA should take a decision 30 days in advance. Whether they want us to submit 120 days before, we will do that. Or 6 months before, we will do that. But how can you run a business that in the last day you will get to know? Neither your clients are aware, employees are aware. You are almost like your gun is on your head. So we will be making a huge demand. We should have an opportunity to represent. If suppose they don't give us a license, you don't have an opportunity to represent, your business is off tomorrow. So we are asking, take decision 30 days in advance. You want us to apply before, we'll do that. I think that will ease a lot of problems. So that is a suggestion and we'll be strongly recommending. Next.
And if they don't take a decision 30 days, deemed to be
I wish your wishes come true. Next.
The increase in capital, though they have mentioned that it should be for the brokers who are getting the new license, but again there is a confusion because they are seeking the certificate as per the regulation 19, where every existing broker also have to give the certificate for the revised capital. That we are seeking the clarification on that. And that for the restoration of the net worth, if it comes down by 50 lakhs, so it should minimum 6 months to be given for the,
There should be a time limit, otherwise the day your net worth comes down because of some major loss or some penalty or whatever be the reason, you need to have a time period.
Sometimes what happens is that there is a policy for 1 year. In first half or 1 quarter, we are not having the much business. In the second half, we are having the business. So that varies. So that's why the 6 months time we are seeking.
Next.
Clarification.
No, sorry.
We should look at the net worth at every financial year end, not every
Quarter. It should not be on the half year. It should not be half yearly. It should not be half yearly.
That's also mentioned. We'll show that.
The clarification on the FD. There's a lot of confusion when the broker gets the license. Immediately they'll go for the FD. But at that time they are not aware whether it should be interest bearing with the credit to the FD or it should be taken by the. So at the end of the 3 years, 4 years, it becomes a 10 lakhs FD becomes the 15 lakhs, 12 lakhs. So at that time he wants to withdraw, then IRDA takes. There's a problem to revise the FDR. So we want that it should be clarified in the regulation itself. It should be the without interest.
The charge should only be on the principal amount, not on the interest. I think all these suggestions will ease out the problems of particularly the brokers which are not made enough money in their balance sheet. So all these things are very important to ease the burden of the section of the broker which are going to grow tomorrow, but they need help today.
Another clause we are adding into this regulation 26 that outsourcing, whatever you're getting the outsourcing fees, that should be included in the regulation. Again, we are saying because the remuneration is a problem because we are not getting in time. So the necessary instruction to be given to the insurer that the brokerage should be, remuneration should be paid within 30 days from the placement of the
inception of the policy. So some of these are aggressive demands, but they are fair demands. We have all the obligation on earth to do everything, this. We are saying for the business we've actually given to the insurer, our brokerage is agreed also, they don't give us the money in time. So we are saying, shouldn't there be a written obligation that from the inception of the policy, our due money should be given?
Again, in regulation 27, there is some typing error or some the logical we have to see. Replace the word with the risk management services. As there's some typing error, so that we are pointing out should be clarified.
Because if this is not corrected, it would mean that for the client with whom you do risk management, you cannot do broking, and for the business you do broking, you cannot do risk management, which cannot be. So we are requesting add risk management service. Next.
And again, for the claim consultancy, we are proposing that it should be without any limitation.
Without any limitation. I think many of you said, so there are three-stage strategy we are asking on the claims consulting. The first demand, which will remain always, that claim consultancy is a prerogative of a customer to go to a qualified licensed entity like broker who represent the customer interest. If they don't allow that, customer is forced to go to unlicensed quacks. You know, it's like you are not allowed to go to the doctor when you fall sick. You are forced to go only to the quacks by regulation. The association did a survey of world market. We are the only market in the world. We don't have a parallel in the whole world where by regulation a customer is devoid to go to an expert when he is in trouble. So we want to highlight to the regulator, this is extreme anti-policyholder move. You should correct it. The second strategy is that regulator in the last 2 years has taken a structural approach change internally, and we should know that what's happening in the regulator office. They are taking a stand that if it's a commercial customer, that is a corporate customer, they are allowing the full freedom in use and file wording. They are saying it's an adult to adult transaction. There are two mature people dealing with it, so I allow freedom. So they allowed on the use and file complete freedom. So first freedom is we are asking for all. If you don't give at least on the commercial, there should be complete freedom. And on the retail, anyway 10 crore limit is done. So I think in the 10 crore limit, most of the retail will be covered. So our second strategy, first is this or this. In many of our requests, we will be making, our first request is this. If not this, at least this. No, we don't have too many chances. We go straight away with 1, 2, 3 requests. Yes, next.
Next is again, it seems to be irrelevant for us because they are copied from the web aggregator. So we are proposing that it should be deleted.
Maybe, Janji, you can mention what we are asking because many of them are only hearing. So you can repeat what we are planning to remove for the people on the call.
Actually, we were saying because the language what they have used, every insurance broker shall have a board approved policy on the manner and soliciting business insurance product. The policy amongst others shall include the approach to be followed by the insurance broking in having the multiple tie-ups. Broker doesn't have broker always have the multiple tie-ups because he can place the business with every insurer. So it is not relevant for us to have a tie-up with the unless until it is for the online sale. In online sale we can have the tie-up, but not the otherwise. So that we are proposing it should not be there. Next is the 31, that is for the internal control system. Because there they have proposed that it should be compliance officer is the 10 crore of premium. We are proposing it should be based on the brokerage, not on the premium. So that will more appropriate because our income for the brokers is the remuneration. So it should be based on the brokerage.
So we will make another amendment.
Any cap on brokerage you are recommending?
No, it should be instead because presently if the premium is more than 10 crores, the compliance officer is to be appointed.
So now your recommendation is that we should go on brokerage.
10 crore brokerage, 10 crore brokerage, only then it should be appointed.
This we thought through very carefully. If a broker has only 10 crore of premium, how much will be the brokerage? Very small amount. 10 crore premium, very small. On this, if you have to appoint full-time compliance officer, the broking company will die because of that, So for that particular segment, we will make a lot of specific requests that you have to consider at least 10 crore of brokerage so that he has a money to pay compliance officer and others. Otherwise, most of the new brokers who are started their operation or operating in a small places, they will die with the burden of this compliance technical officer, IT officer. This is dangerous. So we are going to make a very specific plea to them. This is unfair to impose something which cannot be complied with.
So another issue in the internal control, that sometimes whenever you are tie up with some client, he says you enter into service level agreement. In service level agreement, they say you unlimited liability of the broker.
We should spend some time on this. This is a new concept. We should spend some time and seek your reaction on this, what we are trying to achieve.
So what the brokers are doing, they are entering into the contract with the service level agreement, and they are mentioning that the broker will be responsible for the unlimited liability. So that is very dangerous. So that we are proposing it should be limited to the brokerage earned. So that you
or
will not have
overall financial cap. So what has happened is particularly on the PSU customers who also started using insurance brokers and many other customers, they put a clause of unlimited liability. And when some problem goes, a broker is not an insurance company and claims are not getting settled by insurance company. They can sue the broker and create problem, and many of the brokers have been sued in the market of late because claims are not getting settled. So we are not an insurance company. Even insurance company doesn't give unlimited liability. Banks don't give unlimited liability. How can a broker give an unlimited liability? So if this is imposed, the broking fraternity can survive and continue. So that is language which we have carefully drafted.
The customer and the broker.
Yes.
Not related to
No.
insurer to
not
the customer, because customer then expect full liability from the broker. That should be curtailed.
Next. Next 34 is related to maintenance of books of accounts. Initially they have said that we have to prepare the books of accounts like profit and loss account, cash flow and the balance sheet. And the cash flow, as per Companies Act, we have to prepare the cash flow as per the indirect method. Because that is compulsory, that is a Companies Act requirement, we cannot forego that. But BAP requirement is on the direct basis. So there is a contradictory. We have to follow the law. So they have to modify it whether the BAP or we should permit because Companies Act we cannot change. So it should be to indirect method in the BAP model.
Jainji, just a small interruption. We note that there are 875 people who are on the live web link. I hope insurers have not logged in, but
and another is the regulation 34 subclause 7. they are asking a certificate from the auditor that the part of the auditor report that the broker has compiled all the regulations. And the auditor report format is, as per the Companies Act, is a fixed. It cannot be modified. So that this clause should be deleted. Similarly, that certificate we have to issue for the appointment of the statutory auditor. And statutory auditor is generally appointed in the AGM. And last date of AGM is the 30th September. And they expect that we submit our annual report before 30th September. And when you submit it before 30th September, we cannot submit the auditor's appointment certificate. So for this, we are seeking for the relaxation. Again, it's Regulation 35, sealing of business. Yeah, accounts are always approved in the AGM. So what is that we can do? No, actually, that balance sheet is signed by the auditor. We can send it to the IRDA.
If you are not able to convene the AGM before the 30th September, then
no, then you have to seek the permission, because first you have to seek the permission from the company law board. Only then you can apply to IRDA that we are seeking the extension time. So this is the condition. Because 30th September is the requirement as per the Companies Act.
you cannot change that.
For that, the Act provides that you can take the extension. Again, the sealing of business. Again, the sealing of business, it is the premium amount, but we are proposing for the brokerage. Number of policies we can propose.
So this is a new idea. So what we would do is, we thought of changing it from premium to brokerage. That will ease out the problem, because in large clients, one single large client, you're not likely with a very big brokerage, but you may have a large premium. So brokerage can ease some problem. But if you're lucky, you are making big brokerage and big premium. So we will go for number of policies. Yes, yes.
And again, we are writing that.
Sir, वो कैमरा नहीं आ रहा है.
Again, under Regulation 37, we are writing the clause the broker can be act as a outsourced service provider. So that in case policy servicing, because as per outsourcing regulations.
The web aggregator guideline specifically allows us to act as a outsourced service provider to the insurer. So we are saying our attempt will be under the entire regulation, and we heard from Mahavir and many others that web aggregator regulation may have something mentioned. We want to have all those things mentioned in our own regulation enabling us those things. Otherwise, we'll always be into problem. We cannot have a cross-referencing to other regulation and be into trouble. So we're saying outsourcing to insurer is something we were denied. So if we are going to do, it should be as part of our function, and both the remuneration all should mention, otherwise we have a conflict. So we have taken suggestions from our advisor lawyer, and they also suggest it should be brought in. Yes.
Can you give us an example on what kind of outsourcing can be done?
We need to list down the list of outsourcing activity which is permitted under the web aggregator regulation. They specifically list down. There's a list of things. They are primarily relating to policy servicing in terms of issuance, endorsement, and there are a list of things which are prescribed. I don't often remember. We will be also typing those out so that we are at par.
Next.
Isn't it against the principles of broking where you're tying up with an insurance company?
No, you don't tie up with one, you could tie up with even 10, 15. So that is what web aggregator does, tie up with many. So that's something which is on the outsourcing, it's allowed. It's common. It's we who have all these restrictions, other markets don't have those restrictions.
I'm talking about our regulations.
Yeah, so, but regulator is himself allowing, so why not make it clear? Basically, they are making the online model at par with the web aggregator. That's the essence. It's not that it's, yeah, same thing. Next. Janji.
You can tell you better because these are related to reinsurance.
Which one, sir?
38.
38. Sorry. I'm unable to. Sorry? Okay, this is a reinstatement of the inward business. I think many of the brokers requested that the reinsurance inward business which comes into India, currently the broker regulation allows that compulsory usage of Indian licensed broker if a broker is present overseas to send the business in India. So they have taken that right away. We want that to be reinstated.
It talks about reinsurance doing Indian risk abroad.
Yes. Yes.
Next is also filing of
No,
return.
clarification added in 38(1) that the reference is related to reinsurance placement of Indian risk abroad and entity is not registered in India. Okay, this is with regard to these are all nuances. Okay, this is more lawyering in terms of how exactly those are to be different. When we are placing an Indian risk, say you get an order from New India Insurance for placing the reinsurance abroad, we are allowed to use a foreign broker abroad to place the business in London market or elsewhere. There is a specific provision in the broker regulation. But the broker regulation mentions with regard to such allowance is only for reinsurers abroad. That's overseas abroad. So it uses a phrase for reinsurance with overseas reinsurers. That is the phrase they use. You can use a foreign broker. The challenge which comes is that the foreign branches which have been opened in India, they have very interesting legality that the foreign branch Munich Re India is considered as a reinsurer in India, but the Munich Re Singapore is not. So with all these confusions coming, to bring the clarity, we need to use the phrase reinsurers registered not in India. So if they are registered in India, then for that reason. So these are all clarity with regard to how the same intent of the regulator is captured. Next.
Next is the filing of returns. Though the IRD has proposed that twice in a year that we have to submit the certificate returns, but we are proposing it should be once in a year. So that will facilitate the things. Now next is the regulation 42, authority power to inspect. In that they have mentioned the 4 sub clauses. 2 is for the inspections and 2 is for the investigation. So we are asking them to bifurcate. Inspection should be shown separately and an investigation should be separately. Again, under inspection, we are proposing that the list of documents should be provided. Which document can be inspected by the, otherwise what happens? Anybody gives any report, any list of document is required to be inspected. So because it is very clearly mentioned either in the Companies Act requirement or the documents which has to be prepared as per these regulations or Insurance Act, and in case we can list out all the documents, that will be easy for the brokers. They cannot go over and above that. No, it is the 10 days notice is there. 10 days
all there.
10, it is there. It is there. 30 days we can mention.
We'll request.
30 days we can mention. 30
Next.
Days. This 47.
Yeah. Basically, the definition of person acting as an insurance broker can be punished by RDA without having a license. We also have had number of brokers complaining that many so-called consultants, they act like an insurance broker, or even so-called agents we hear many times they act like an insurance broker. So the definition we are broadening it or
services
performing services similar to insurance broker. So many times they are always have a model where they take a legal opinion, they are not exactly insurance brokers. So we're saying using the word similar rather than just as insurance broker.
And other regulations related to cancellation of certificate. That is a routine thing, that is not much recommendation is required.
Regulations 45 and 46 also you will be including.
Yeah, that on the based on suggestion will include that. And there are some forms.
Sorry?
Penalties. No, actually, if you see that IRD has released some order, office order, in January 2016. About they have defined the penalties. No, that is not a penalty because they have said the first violation, second violation, third violation, and instead of penalties, they are proposing the suspension of license or suspension for the two months, the 4 months, 6 months.
And cancellation also is the
Cancellation.
third mistake.
So now what do you want, financial penalty or the suspension? You cannot escape.
I think I want to spend a couple of minutes on this. This is a very serious matter. We need to understand the gravity and why we are playing very careful with regard to how we send our recommendations as an IBI. With all good intent, there was a request made by IBI representative earlier that financial penalties are very large in quantity. It should be reduced because some of the brokers were facing that. Maybe IRDA didn't like the tone of our request or whatever it is. They went in a completely reverse direction. They said, okay, you don't like financial penalty, I'm taking it away. And they made it penalty of cancelling your license altogether. They said, first penalty, generally, I will give you warning. Second penalty, I will suspend you. And third time mistake, I will cancel you, your license. Now, this is obviously far more draconian than, it's a common sense, everybody understands, nobody wants that. So, as on today, a notification of IRDA for such kind of a penalty exists. So, that sword is hanging on all of us right now. It is true, it is hanging. But some sort of a minor relief is that they have not brought that notification into the regulation right now. Now, the strategy I wanted to ask you is, if you want to touch too much on the penalty in our comment, they will throw open the entire notice into the regulation, then what will happen? So, we need to be careful in what we wish and what we ask and what we want. So, right now we have a sword hanging where each one of our license can be cancelled for 3 mistakes, not 100 mistakes. 3 mistakes. That's the notice. This is strange. So, we have been doing a lot of work around that. We had engaged help of our advisor, Mr. Prabodh Chandraji, some of the lawyers, a lot of board members had worked on this. We prepared a very strong response and a carefully articulated response to that notification also. But we were about to send that response, which took us a lot of time for whatever reason, I don't know, get involved. This draft regulation has come. So, we are keeping quiet on that right now, because if we touch that and that notice comes and sits on this, because when they draft regulation, they tend to pull out all notices into the regulation. So, I must thank IRDA. Knowingly or unknowingly, they have not brought that notice into the regulation, so we don't want to play too much around the penalty. Not that we don't want to represent, we need to be very careful what has happened. We intend to take as an association very strongly as soon as the regulation chapter gets closed against that notification. Because that notification is legally a little lesser, it has some challenges on the notice, it's not part of regulation, so we'll deal with that. So, that's the whole approach.
Don't make lakhs, 2 lakh, 3 lakh, 5 lakh. One broker will always charge 40 lakh. I said, don't go like this. Whatever I actually, we member and chairman, we requested from on behalf of IBA, wherever you charge 2 lakhs, please charge 10, 20,000 rupees. This was our request. How is it twisted? We have to go through it.
Yes, next.
In the form, the schedule form, active addition, ये आपने देखा. Addition of the following functions, acting as an outsource.
So, we are saying that acting as an outsourced service provider should be added as one of the functions, so that when they are allowing in the web aggregator regulation to be acting as, it needs to be specifically mentioned also under the function. Second is, there is a very brilliant suggestion Jayanji gave, that within the functions of the broker, we should have an enablement that IRDA should be able to notify more functions as they deem fit later. Because what is happening is the whole broking function is expanding, we are able to do a lot more things. So, that enablement, we don't know when the next broker regulation will change, so that enablement is good for us in case they take it.
So, we put that one condition, the other services, we will want to put the other services as approved by the IRDA. So, in future any outsourced servicing, it can be approved by the IRDA, it can be added automatically. The form recommendation provided by the issues digital certificate to the principal officer and the broker qualified.
So, this physical certificate which takes 2 months time, we are saying there should be an enablement of digital certificate. You take exam, you should get digital certificate instantly.
Like while renewal, we are getting the renewal certificate, we are getting this immediately.
In this context, I just want to bring one point
see that they have mentioned that the principal officer's renewal certificate must be, renewal training must be completed 6 months before the expiry of the license.
License, yeah.
And this creates
No, I'll just step into that. It's the drafting issue. What they are saying over there in terms of the intent, we have done a lot of deliberation last few days. They're saying that renewal should be completed not earlier than 6 months, but before the. So I'm saying that in your 3-year period, you have to do 25 years further. So, but don't do your 25 hours immediately after 1 year. Just so within the last 6 months, you need to complete it.
But it still creates an issue, like, your certificate remains valid at the time of applying for the renewal. Your PO's certificate is valid, but still, it's not valid for a longer period. Let's say you have to do it 4 months later or backdate, do it. It creates a kind of confusion.
Ma'am, we can discuss it separately, but the whole.
When the next renewal comes, if you have done 6 months prior, and then next time you do 4 months prior, so there will be a gap of 2 months.
No, they are counting. No, madam, they are counting 3 years from the date of passing of the examination. No, it is clearly it is no. No, it is clearly
I understand
mentioned.
what you're saying.
Say
we will take it up. Got it. Next, Genji, but I'm just trying to be efficient because we want some time for some open dialogues further. Yes, next.
And again, the code of conduct, earlier there was some clause was added, this time they have removed it. So we are asking that because that is more beneficial for us. So we are asking them to include that. So we can, there it provides that permit to charge fees from the client.
I want to take 1 minute on this particular one. Under the code of conduct, this particular provision, remuneration 11, was probably one of the most beautiful clause we had, allowing broker, and all of you should spend some time to read it. There were a number of provisions where, as some of you pointed out, it gave a blanket clearance that till the time there's an understanding between a customer and a client, the broker can charge him additional amount of money. It needs to be only in writing and for what services is providing. This kind of an enablement is there in almost every country across the globe because it's a customer and service provider issue. They have taken that clause away. It means the customer does not have an ability to transact with you and give you money for the services he is doing. There are customers, for example, who may say, I want you to visit my office every week. I want that level of extra service. For example, the same broker regulation draft, if you want a service provider, say lawyer firm, to examine, they can examine in 10 hours or they can examine in 2000 hours. We can get into that level of detail. So if the customer wants more intense service and he wants to pay for it, that was allowed into the previous regulation, claim consultancy, risk management, even on the insurance. Now that clause has been taken away. So that is something we will be opposing because it puts all our functions into challenge. Next.
And again, we are putting up the time around time by the IRDA because whatever we are submitting, there should be time limit by which the IRDA should give the approval or refusal, whatever the case may be, it should be given. And somewhere they have mentioned about the certification from the auditor. And we are requesting them to give the chartered accountant. Not by the auditor, it should be given by the chartered accountant. Other firm, yeah, that is to.
It simplifies.
So these are the suggestions from our side, IBS side. If whatever you have proposed, again, we will incorporate that. So any other, after reading this?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Of course,
definitely, yeah,
that's the whole intent.
Yeah.
And I would say that to do this kind of a task in this short period of time, it cannot be done without a lot of hard work. And I must say, your entire set of board of directors don't want to single out one or the other, whether, arranging this whole logistics, Mr. Jangla takes over the whole thing. Mr. Khaitan suggests we must have a video conference because we want to include all the brokers in Calcutta and all over the country. I think each one of them contribute. I think this has been working as a great team. You will obviously see different people. Kapil joined us recently. He did an entire coordination with the lawyer Shelja initially, and then all of us got involved. Janji is always available hugely. So I think there's been a tremendous amount of hard work and effort. There will be errors in this, okay? And we accept all errors with complete humility. And if there are errors in the drafting there are suggestions which have been missed out with all the best intent, do not hesitate to point them out. But do not doubt the intent. I think we are all here in as a community, and I think the quality of dialogue we had today, with each one of you able to articulate your points, and we have made notes of this, I think it gives me a tremendous pleasure to see the way we are progressing as a community, coming forward in a very organized way. So I think we will take this dialogue forward, and we will have some open dialogue again. I know we are running late in terms of time, but I think we will give some time. But I will request that please give your names who can afford to spare your time to visit IRDA. We'll try and accommodate as many people, and we will confirm to you by today evening. So claims thing, Father Sahab ji, aap aayenge? Nahi? Aurobindo Sahab? Monday. Coming Monday. Yes, please. Yes. Yes. Good. So others also can give the name. We will take a note. And I will also share, if more names come, do not mistake. We will come back and say, these many names have come. Maybe you like to discuss amongst yourselves. We can not accommodate all. But right now, let's get the names out. And we will also try and get many names. And we are also asking as many board of directors to, come. I think all our delegations have been good representation of mix of directors and also members. I think that gives a good balance, and we will always keep it very open. And I will also request that do not rest. All the discussions we had, and if you have an energy, please go and write to IRDA on these comments. Make it open. Also to IBI. I think we encourage an open communication. I think there's a wisdom in every word what you say, and each one of you have a right, and I encourage that to exercise it, to write to IRDA and also to IBI, and we will circulate this revised draft. There's a lot of work which goes on. People work whole night to prepare this, something because this is legalistic. There will be errors, but we will not hesitate to circulate, because even if there are errors, they can be corrected when you give your comments. But I think we should give your feedback in a professional way without making it very anti. I think all of us are making our best attempt. I think the good part is 90% of the comments which you shared was captured in these, But the 10% additional came was worth the time we all spent together. So may I ask people to just open up and share some more comments which may have been missed out, or any larger observation anybody wants to make or give a comment. And it doesn't mean that all the comments we are getting, IRDA will accept all of them. IRDA may not accept any one of them, may accept half of them. We have to pursue this. And when more people write, it helps our chances. I have seen this, when more people write, it helps our chances. So when I'm sharing this, that you please write to IRDA, it helps. So please do write. Yes.
So one suggestion is, if IRDA is coming out with a regulation, it's inserting a new clause or something, I don't know whether it's possible, can we ask them logics for it? Why are you introducing a particular, it is affecting 400 brokers, it is affecting distribution.
Can I respond?
Yeah.
We can ask for it, but whether they will respond or not, I don't know.
We have, I think, 1 minute, we have a couple of more people to say about themselves. Yeah, just from Ideal Insurance. The BAP model is not very user-friendly and works out a lot of hardware restriction. Rahul Mohta, Ideal Insurance.
Yeah, that we are taking up with the IRDA, and they are saying that you give the suggestion should come from the IBI. So that again, as I told you earlier, we are proposing that we should upload system like in GST and the IT income tax. We should have the upload system. XML file should be uploaded. So that we have to technically we have discussed with the IRDA team.
Thank you.
So on the BAP module, the update is, we have raised the technical issues with IRDA. IRDA says raise it again, full compilation of all technical issues as an IBA you have. Genji had compiled, others have sent. So again, if you have, please send it. IRDA will be organizing 3 training sessions again on the BAP usage module in Delhi, in Hyderabad and in Mumbai. They are not able to cover other cities in this round again. They will also be organizing a meeting with the vendor and the IBI officials to discuss what are the technical problems they have, and we will be doing a follow-up meeting with the vendor after 6 months whether they have incorporated. So that also we have proposed and IRDA has agreed. So we need to follow through this, that we do that. But IRDA is clear in one aspect, and I want to convey the positive message of the IRDA also, rather than just we beat IRDA in these forums, which is sometimes good but not necessarily always good. they are sharing that their entire focus is to move most of the things online, so that when we make a request for change of directorship and we say that we have not got the response, it is easier for them to also then track in the system that the request did come 6 months back and you've not got the response. Okay? So it will also create a pressure on them, and they understand that. So it is done with a good intent. We have a problem with this quality of the software, but they are saying it's a short-term pain but long-term game. So I think I want to pass this constructive message. I think overall as an association will welcome that change, but it needs to be done with the right correction in the software, but we need to use more technology for ease of doing business for everybody.
Yeah, there is one message.
Casualty, like we are now entering casualty because of the.
I think it's good to point out, but I think let's face it, it is in the larger good of the whole community. You know, it's good to oppose, and we are opposing the things which we need to, but I think the whole drive towards use of digitalization is a welcome thing, and we support that as a principle.
I think.
Yeah.
Software.
And yes,
this is the only quality of software. Yeah.
And we will be raising an issue on the quality of the software, and we have done that.
Right.
Exactly.
I think in page there is a one question from Atul Pandey, Quality Insurance, page 15, chapter 4, regulation 44, 45, 40 is referred to IRDA regulation 17. No such regulation can be found on IRDA website.
Yeah, it is yet to be released. They are the draft regulations only, and it is very shortly it will be, because the Gazette it is approved by the IRDA. Now very shortly it will be released.
So two-stage, we take all the good points of that. There are certain good points of the web aggregate regulation, which is a positive thing for us, but we want them to be incorporated into our regulation as listed rather than being referred. Otherwise, there's a lot of problems. So that will be our request.
Anything on GST?
We can have a dialogue, but that's a 1-hour dialogue. And Mr. Jain is, in fact, authored a book on GST, on insurance, where he was a speaker yesterday in Delhi. So we can have a separate 1-hour session on this, but I just want to focus right now on the broker regulation. I think it's a very good and valid point, but just focus on that.
One suggestion also.
Yes, ji, boliye. Ek second. Sir, sorry, we'll just take his question. Yes. Louder.
Also regulations for the insurance company, we have to settle the claim, we have to put the survey report. But whenever you see the penalties which is coming to the insurance company, which is being loaded in the websites, I'm yet to see from any of the insurance company after the inspection when the website in the IRDA has been loaded, I'm yet to see that the penalty has been given, somebody has settled the claim late and some interest has been charged to that, even if there is a regulation speak about that. I do not know how we can able to reflect that in the regulation somewhere there, but some thought on that if somebody can able to look to.
So IBI has really championed this particular cause on claim settlement in the last annual brokers meet, as you would have seen. We released first time a claims insight for the policyholder, where we did a ranking of how the PSU performance is and how's the private sector, the top 10, and then the others for each line of business. And IRDA chairman greatly appreciated it, and in fact, in the follow-up meeting which I had post the conference, he said that you should try and popularize it in the press so that the larger community can see the work a broker does. And I think we will reach out to progress our profession by highlighting the problems of the insurance market on the claim settlement. And every literature or every release we do, we will tell the policyholder that contact your insurance broker, and to find the insurance broker, we will show them the IBI website link, where there is a location finder. You know, if you want to find a broker in all of Delhi, they can do that. So it's neutral. We are not promoting one broker or the other. And the whole approach, we want to promote the insurance broking profession through claims. That what is the problem with this? And I learned that this kind of a model was adopted by the British Broker Association some 40-50 years back. Similarly, many other associations in 30 years, 40 years back. I think our profession can be promoted by going to the policyholder where it pains them. And the pain they have is on the claim, and we will be popularizing it actively through media as a fresh launch, and as a commitment we will hold. And we will also be now circulating our claims handbook, which we have taken out, to all the CEOs of the insurance company to seek their comments. So they will all become very conscious. So I think this is an exercise, we will make it to a very different level because we have to show to the larger community, not to the insurer, to the policyholder, that we stand for the claim settlement. So we'll do that, sir. Reputation. So, may I take? Okay, here's an excellent point. We will be launching the version 2, version 3, version 4 very quickly, okay, because we need to move on. So, the version 2, which is already prepared but not released, has that claims repudiation. And may I actually invite that this association is of yours. If you give time to this, we will be better. If you champion this, so may I request you that you become and join the handbook preparation and give all the contribution, and it will be better. If anybody also will open it up, I think on the claims handbook, we will invite board members to participate, because in the larger, we have seen that when we all spoke together, we have a better document now. So similarly, the claims handbook will be better. So I invite you, and we'll be inviting to all the people in the country to come together and look at the handbook, because it will be more balanced then. So we will invite you, sir. Next, we are making a note.
On the claims front, if IBAI creates one website where the customers can just upload the repudiation letters which they have got, this will we have to project it from educative purpose, that all the other policyholders they get educated on the things on the cases which get repudiated, on what grounds insurance company rejects the claim. If we can just create this facility, it will act like a major deterrent to the claims which are getting rejected.
We won't become the activist, but we will become a policy change. So there's a difference becoming an activist and driving a policy change.
It will be projected in the fashion that it will be more from education perspective, that the policyholders will get educated. What are the things, this is the correct rejection, but what are the things that get rejected?
I think it will require some more deliberations before we jump into that. Yeah. I like the direction, but we'll just deliberate more. What else?
No, myself and Mr. Nitin Dosa made to member in IRDA. We requested on behalf of the client, why don't you have a tribunal like income tax? Suppose any major claim is coming, instead of writing insurance companies and running below the post, let us have an IRDA tribunal, a major claim comes, you charge some sort of fees and you start that. So instead of going to court and arbitration, it can be easy. I think that the member is very positive. He will suggest, he will take it in other points. We can request a tribunal, so it will be great help to our clients, and they will have more confidence in brokers. The brokers are doing for us. So Sanjay, this also point can be noted.
On a lighter note, if insurers were giving the best coverage, very low price, and sell the claim, everything, brokers would not be required. That's on a lighter note, but I think we will take up this issue very strongly, and it's good there are problems, and we will highlight those problems, the client issues.
Yeah, I think this most of the point just run through.
Thank you.
Section 40 talks about the approval of the authority before any changes in the principal officer, director and all. Well, I accept that, okay, for any addition of the director, you need approval from IRDA. Why any director wants to go out, we should take the IRDA's approval.
It should be information.
Anyway, approval has been already given for when he joined there. When he wants to go for his own reason, you are affecting his freedom of movement also from one company to another.
So it's a good point. We will take it up. It's a good point.
We can make
there is a question from VIG brokers. Is it penalty for the brokers to maintain KYC from the clients where insurance do not ask for? I am reading from here.
Clarity required on KYC norm, whether it is responsibility of the broker to insurer or both. It looks like duplication.
And also clarity on not due date. I think this will be covered. Let's say renewal should be accepted, so the client should not be lost. That renewal. License renewal, sir. If license not renewed till due date, at least renewals which was previously happened, should be used later.
Okay, I can respond on something which I understand that the exposure draft does allow that if your license is not renewed on time, you can continue up to 6 months to continue with your existing business.
No, that is servicing. That is servicing, not the renewal. It is only the servicing.
there is
Servicing
ambiguity. I
can be
think we
done.
cleared it. Yeah.
Okay, then it's a good point. We need to add in our submission that even the renewal of existing business should be allowed because, yes, at least for
Fresh,
this.
not the fresh. It's not
Other
the
clients
fresh.
will suffer.
Not, no. Yes, that is fine.
In KYC is required, sir?
Yeah,
Jai sir?
KYC is
KYC required?
KYC required because even as we are representing client and insurance demands the insurer demands the KYC norms, it is our duty to help the client to provide the.
But that is only for life
Kif-
insurance.
Now, even for this also, whenever the premium is more than 1 lakh rupees, they require this KYC norms.
KYC is very important point.
No,
KYC is required.
Address, PAN card, Aadhaar card, all
Let's
these
have
things are
a
required.
one dialogue. Excuse me, let's have a one dialogue at a time. Yes.
No, because KYC norms is required, we are representing client. So it is our duty to get all the documents from the client and submit to the insurer. Insurer will demand from us, not from the client.
This is a non-issue, sir. We are already doing it.
So that is, yeah.
Because without compliance.
No, the question is, there's a question is, it is duplicate of work. So it is not a duplicate of work. This is not a duplicate of work.
Okay. A lot of members are talking about time up. I can see they're waving. And I know a lot of members wants to continue the dialogue because this is not yet complete. So may I propose a small word of thanks, and also we have snacks outside. We can continue our conversation over there so that some of the people who want to move on can move on, and the people who want to stay can continue the dialogue for some more time. I want to thank each of the members, particularly all the directors who have organized, and I would like to thank Hemang Jagla in particular for taking the initiative, and Mr. Arvind Khaitan for insisting that we must have.
1086. We crossed 1000. Sanjay.
See, I would say
we crossed 1000, 1086 viewers.
बोलने में क्या है? And friends, I would like to thank each one of you because your engagement, your participation makes the community stronger and better. I know it's a time out from your business and your family to come out and spare your time, but I cannot share how valuable your inputs are, because when you all speak, there are so many things which none of us were able to fathom, imagine, or think of. So I think please continue your engagement. And if I was to do a complaint to all of you, you all don't share enough feedback on the emails, And I would urge you, utilize your time. If you have an idea, you need not be very structured in a formal letter. It's us. Just shoot an idea if you have on the email. It allows us to pick up those ideas. Don't need to be bothered about the English formalities. Just shoot your ideas because we need them. Okay?
And last but not least, I want to thank you, April Broadcast and Sandeep Ori. Thank you, Sandeep, for all this fantastic, excellent, flawless. Thank you. Yeah.
I think we feel much better to take this representation to IDA because it's a collective output of so many of you.
So all the viewers, I think, watching, thank you very much for watching. And I think we started this first time, and we will continue this thing, in the next any meetings, something. Thank you.
So we have limited amount of funds, but that's a separate dialogue, but we will continue to invest. Yes. Thank you. Let's continue the dialogue.